it just seemed like he had so much going on, and it was just beautiful that I was like, why don't you just try this out, you know? Into it, and I did not like it, did not want to go back.
Recall where the house was?
Yeah, it's like right off the highway in Frederick.
Okay. You know the streets?
I mean, I'm sure I could figure it out again if I like really had to. Like off the top of my head, no.
Do you know the street name?
No. I would have to like drive around in there to get there.
Okay.
Okay, everybody, welcome or welcome back to What's the Obsession. I am so glad you guys are all here, especially, well, everybody. I know not everybody can be in the live stream and chat. You know, it's like 4 a.m. some places. Maybe you got to work tomorrow. Maybe you need some sleep. I do understand that. You get an excused absence for today. So, welcome, replay crew, as well. So, I'm so super glad you guys are here. And, just a couple of things. I told you I was going to be putting out a video this weekend. Well, I did put out a Watts video this weekend. It was about Dwayne Kessinger. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's a little, I tried to add some humor in it a little bit. Let me tell you about this. And through the comments, that led me to think about something that I've had on my list of to-dos for a long time, and that's channel merch. So guess what, guys? This channel is celebrating its 3-year anniversary. I don't know, might be like today, it might be tomorrow. It's right around now though. So in April for the 3-year anniversary, we are going to feature What's the Obsession merch. So let's see, who was it? LJ. So you're the one who started my conversation with that, right? I think so. Oh my gosh. Why do I get so confused about this? But through the comments in that Dwayne Kessinger video, because we found him, we know what he's doing now, and I made a video all about it. Didn't find the skanky empanada, formerly known as Nicole Kessinger, though. So we're still on the lookout for her. But anyway, somebody said, "Oh, you should have leave Jim alone on a shirt or something like that." So we were laughing about it. Some other people made some suggestions. So there's currently a community post poll asking you guys to pick what's going to be on the channel merch. So I think I'm going to do water bottles, t-shirts, sweatshirts, and mugs. So I think leave Jim alone is going to have to be one. I don't know. Skanky empanadas kind of are like motto. Weirdly enough, skankily enough. But Nicole Kessinger. Yeah, so make your suggestions, and I think that's really exciting. And thank you guys. Some of you guys have been here for 3 years. That is so amazing. And thank you guys so much. And everyone who's new, welcome. I'm really just so honored and happy and humbled that you guys are here. That you're here. That's awesome. Yeah, Nancy. Nancy is like my first moderator. Nancy is like, I told Nancy the other day that she has no idea how much influence that she has over the daily decision making in this channel, because Nancy is very loyal to following the Watts case. We all know that, right, Nancy? It's okay, but she knows everything about the Watts case. But she's been here from the very beginning, and don't mess with Nancy. I promise you, seriously, it is just not in your best interest. Don't mess with Nancy. Yeah, so that's that. And I don't know if this is a premature announcement. I don't think it is, but well, first of all, there's a relatively new channel called The Tilted Lawyer, and recently, just through my, feed that YouTube gives me when I'm hungry of those videos that they know I might want to watch because they can read my mind all the time. YouTube is always on autoplay in my living room, like 24 hours a day, constantly. And all it ever does is play true crime. Awesome. So, his video came on a few weeks ago. And at first I was like, I just watched a couple of minutes of it. And I was like, okay, well, I'll go back. Wasn't sure. And then I caught another video, and he was preparing for the theoretical trial of Nicole Kessinger. So I started watching that, and I was like, damn, this is good. So he's done a couple, a couple episodes of the theoretical trial of Nicole Kessinger just this weekend. And please watch it on his channel so he gets, the watches and the watch hours and all that. He uploaded the verdict. It's freaking brilliant. But anyway, Omar Serrato, I hope I'm saying his last name correctly, is coming on sometime next week or possibly the week after, probably next week, hopefully next Friday. He'll be on here live. He's a defense attorney to answer our legal questions because we know the facts pretty well, right? Because this is a fake fact zone. So we're good on that. But man, to have, a lawyer actually answer some questions, legal questions about this case, about the possibility of Nicole Kessinger being reinvestigated, about some things that happened during the investigation that, we think are suspicious, it's just going to be such a blessing. So look forward to that. All right. Welcome to everybody coming in. Come in, get comfortable. And I'm so glad you're here. Yeah. He's great. Awesome. He's really great. Leave Jim alone. Let's see. Do you have a 401k? And he was like, yeah. And oh my gosh. I can't even wait. Let me just play you a little bit of whole day here. I've got so many good things planned for you this evening. So we're going to talk about wait, give me a sec here because I'm a terrible multitasker. Just find the right video. And okay. Oh, there he is. Well, so yeah. Oh, Dwayne Kessinger. So if you didn't see the video yet, here, you can see what Dwayne Kessinger looks like right now. Oh boy. Spoiler alert, he's not a foreign diplomat. Spoiler alert, he is not a foreign diplomat. But Cecile already knew that. One of our moderators, Cecile, debunked that a long time ago, brilliantly. I mean, it's definitely not Nicole Kessinger.
Hi. It's me.
I'm having a wonderful time.
I miss your face.
Yeah, I have good credit, and I have all these things, and I have all these things, and I have all these things that I can't tell you.
Leave Jim alone. I still don't remember what we talked about.
But it's her dad, Dwayne Kessinger.
I've known Jim for years and years. We don't want to take all of our
Okay, so go check out the video if you haven't seen it yet. I think it's pretty interesting. Yeah, really great, good times to see Daddy Dwayne. Daddy Dwayne seems to be doing really well. He seems like a successful person who's very established in his profession, and yeah, we got a lot of love for you, Daddy Dwayne. But we don't know about your spawn child. Wait, hold it, just 1 second. I have to mute myself because my son has a friend over there being really loud. I have to yell. Just 1 minute. Okay, thank you. Nancy says, remember when they were showing the wrong guy on that channel, Kelly? Oh my God. There were a few channels that were using this picture of a man who had passed away. It was actually the picture that appeared in his obituary. And a lot of channels actually were showing this picture. I mean, it was really going around. Like people accepted this is Dwayne Kessinger. If you follow this case at all or you're watch true crime on YouTube and somebody showed you the picture of this poor deceased man and said, who is this? I bet 80% of the people have been like, oh, easy. That's Dwayne Kessinger. Oh my gosh. Oh boy. Yes, that was great, Nancy. Let's see. Said no side chick ever. We're about to hear me say that and something we're going to watch too. That is a really good one. That is really one of the favorite things that people say, in comments. Said no side piece ever. I like side piece. The wording is just like, perfect, Okay. So we're going to today be looking at some of the phone data. Now, the phone data in this case is very important. As you know, if you've watched other trials or have learned about other cases, phone data is very important in a lot of cases. What your phone is doing, where it is, what mode it's in, and how much it's listening to you could really, it can definitely put you in the slammer if you commit a crime. That's for sure. We see it happening time and time again. So let's just listen to this little brief clip from the August 16th interview with Skanky Empanada. Oh, I'm sorry, Empanada, not Empanada, Empanada. Nicole Kessinger as Kevin Kobach, our anti-hero, interviews her. Kevin Kobach really needed to, I was going to just say something really crude. You know what I was going to say. So yeah, not so good, Kevin Kobach. And, at this point, I'm sure that Nicole Kessinger is sweating bullets in this point in the interview.
Specifically down here. Understand
Just
that
don't want anybody to get some of those texts. Like they have nothing to do with this case, and they're just like,
between you and Chris.
yes, they're just
So just tell me what you're.
they're just kind of raunchy. Like
Okay.
I don't need anybody.
Everybody's
I
an
don't
adult.
need that posted like
We're not going to
somewhere.
post it.
I don't want the newspapers to get that. That's all I want.
The
I just
only
need
ones
them
that
to
we would
not
be
get
looking
that.
for, again, is the same kind of questions we're getting to here, is things about his children, things about his wife, the questioning of, did he ever, has he ever said something to you that might indicate, maybe not then, but now, that there was something like this in his mind, or you know what we're looking for. I don't need to come out and tell you that. I understand the embarrassment of particular photos or potential sexual types of conversations you may have had with Chris. It's not relative to the investigation. We don't care. Okay, you're an adult.
We don't give a shit
I'm an
about you, Nicole
adult.
Kessinger.
Everybody in this room, even your dad, and I give it to you for saying that stuff in front of your dad because I'm not sure many women could do that. So that's not what we're after. We're after the information that corroborates things that you've told us, and also that corroborates or may tend to prove that things that Chris told us were a lie. You understand that? And that's maybe going a little bit far. I usually won't tell people that, but because of your reservations, that's what I'm looking for. If I can disprove something he's told me by a phone records don't lie. People do.
There we go. Phone records don't lie. People do. And ain't that the truth? And it is so true. Phone records don't lie. And there are a number of features on your phone that are going to tell authorities or anybody, but authorities, if they're investigating you, really theoretically only the authorities and the cell phone company should have access to these records. Well, yourself, you can have access to some of your own records, but not all of them. That's for sure. So they can tell a number of different things. There's the, infamous ping, there's GPS, I'm going to be talking about this a little more as we go along, but in this case, phone data information is absolutely critical for a number of reasons as far as Nicole Kessinger is concerned and the questions that we have about her. And the questions, as many of you probably know, what I think that the questions we have about her are well founded. And I do believe that through her interviews, through her own words and her own lies and her own actions, combined with the things that we know from the limited information we have access to pertaining to her cell phone records, there is absolute reason to suspect that she had involvement in something having to do with this horrible crime. And I demand that she be reinvestigated properly. So justice can be served for Shanann, Bella, Cece, and Nico. And so these questions can finally be put to rest. DA Rourke and his posse did her and did the world no service by letting her off so easily. So, maybe if they had actually questioned her properly, got to the bottom of things, essentially they would be proving that she is not involved, but they didn't bother to do that because District Attorney Rourke is a wuss. So, it really wasn't helpful, and it is forever going to be my goal until the day that it happens that she does find herself under scrutiny of real investigators. So, this is District Attorney Rourke's last possible term as the district attorney of Weld County. Last term, he won the election uncontested. So he did a great job running against nobody. So hopefully he will be out soon and there will be a renewed chance of justice for the victims. So let me bring another something into the stream, and then we're going to start to look at some data, some well-analyzed data. So I'm going to grab this copy of the Chris Watts prison interview from Unjustified. She recently uploaded a clean audio copy. It's good. And so maybe that would be a place you would want to go if you want to hear anything from this interview. All right. So Tammy Lee is going to ask Chris a question here that could only be asked because she knows something that she learned from his cell phone data. And also from the Vivint alerts from the security system in the Watts residence. Okay. And we're going to be talking a little bit about kind of what she's getting at here today, which is the data in Chris's phone and Shanann's phone from the health app on their iPhones. I don't know how many of you have gone over that information before, the steps, the climbs, all of that. Those of you that have been with me for a while, I know that we went over this extensively over 2 years ago. But there are a lot of people that don't know about that information, haven't really studied it, haven't heard about the conclusions that can be made, haven't done a deep dive into it. And I promise you, even those of you who have done a deep dive into it with me or I don't know, a couple other channels, like I can't even think of the names now. Some channels out there try to do deep dives into this information, and let me tell you, it just ain't working. So just be aware of that. You know what I'm saying? But even those of us that have looked deeply into it before, there are some conclusions that can be made now, given the little bits of actual new information that we have learned about this case along the way. And I will continue along those lines in just a little bit too.
I think so.
Were you trying to make it look like she threw it in the trash?
I don't know. I just
He was just talking about how he threw the book away that Shanann gave him to help work on their marriage. I think it was called Hold Me Tight. Poor Shanann. And he said, I just threw it away. I just threw it in the trash.
I just didn't think nothing was ever going to work again. So I didn't know what was going on.
Did you go down to the basement? I thought the basement door open.
Yeah, the door is open, but yeah. So there was a lot of movement. I think it was around 426 or something. The garage door opening, the basement door opening, and then other
You had a lot of steps. I'll just say that.
So like the basement, I'm not sure. I mean, the only thing I really have down there is my workout, the bench press. Whatnot.
Do you remember going down there for anything or opening that door for anything? Did you think about, well, maybe I'll take her out that way, or is it a walkout?
Okay, I'm sorry. I got really involved in just reading the comments right now, but I'm going to go back. I want to listen to that very carefully again. So she asked Chris, did you go down in the basement? And he gives, I want you to listen carefully, guys, here when Chris Watts answers the questions about going down into the basement, that night after Shanann got home at 1:48 a.m. from her trip in Arizona. Between then and the time when his truck pulled out of the driveway, headed to Survey 319 as 6 o'clock approached. And we all know that NK's phone pinged in Frederick, Colorado at 6:16 a.m. on that very morning, even though in the entirety of all of her phone records that we can see, which is a little over 2 months, her phone only pinged in Frederick a total of 4 times. Really curious, and an expert that I had work on this data was able to tell that where she was when that phone ping occurred was 300 to 400 yards from 2825 Saratoga Trail. Let me say that again. 300 to 400 yards from the Watts residence. That's like, not even down the block. Okay. So let me just go back a little bit here and just listen very carefully to the evidence that they're talking about that are causing him to ask the question, and listen very carefully when he answers. I've always wondered about, this idea of, did something happen in the basement? And this right here that we're listening to right now is the main reason why I have always questioned that. I know there are so many theories out there, and there are some really good theories that are possible, that are clearly informed by facts and evidence and, solid thinking. And there, as we know, are some theories out there that are just absolutely fucking batshit crazy. So listen carefully.
If we ever went to them, the prosecution, say if we could end this, would I be open to it? I'm like, if it could end it.
I know there was wasn't her phone found on the couch or between the couch cushions? Like, did you plant all that stuff?
Just threw it in there.
You just threw it in
Yeah,
there? Why did you do that?
I don't know what was going on that morning. Like, even her watch, her phone, if I was actually if I'd planned this, I would probably just take it out to the field and
Now, I have a question. Did they find her watch, Nancy? Anyone? That's a question people have asked recently that I've noticed. And, I'm like, I think I know the answer to this, but I'm not 100% sure. So that's why I'm asking you guys, those of you that know the facts here really well. Welcome, Donna. How are you doing? Well, I'm seeing if somebody can answer that really quick before we go on. Let me just get Jesse's comment. Hi, Jesse Essex. How are you? Thanks for coming back. Oh, cool. Nancy, thank you so much. Nancy knows everything. She's the bomb. Nancy says, yes, the Wednesday after the murders in the couch. Ugh, thank you so much, Nancy. You're awesome. Okay. So Jesse Essex says, if a phone is shut off and then turns back on, does it ping at the last place that the phone was on? Could she have been there actually at 2 a.m., but the phone was off? A phone is going to ping. A ping, okay. So you might look at a phone conversation that is an hour long or 111 minutes, something like that, random number to pick. But let's just say an hour long, nice round number. And during that hour, maybe you're running errands, or maybe you're in the car and you're, just driving, away from the location you were originally at for 60 minutes. So say 60 miles, or, if you drive fast, maybe even further. There's only going to be one ping that appears on your cell phone record. And that ping is where the phone call that you're on was initiated. So to answer your question, Jesse, the way that the question is, the answer is no, that's not how it works, but that's good. I mean, that was really good, thinking into it though. But the ping is just the location that the phone was at when a call was initiated. Now we have to remember that the cell phone companies have access to a lot more information about what happened regarding the location of that phone after the initial ping happened. That is when the call was initiated. And that's something that we are not at all privy to, and really law enforcement is only privy to that. You might get little glimpses of, what that information looks like and what it could mean, during trials, right? So, okay. So, all right, listen carefully about the basement. Listen how Chris Watts answers. Listen to the information that they are citing as being the reason they're asking him if he went down in the basement. And I think this could be really important here. And I think listening to this time and time again, I believe there's something about the basement that is key to this case. I truly believe that.
But,
What about her ring and stuff? What were you thinking about that?
it's like,
Pawn it,
maybe
man.
she wanted,
Dude, whatever she
maybe
said.
she actually really wanted a divorce. Maybe she didn't want to fix it. Just put it there on the counter.
She took it off? Or did you take it off?
I took it off.
Okay. Oh, so that would look like she was saying, I want a divorce. I'm leaving it here when I take it off. I see.
So the phone and her watch and the couch, was that morning before you left to go to surgery?
Next, I think Nicole's son found it or something.
Yeah.
What other things did you do that maybe we even missed?
So the phone and watch. Yeah. I think I threw the therapy book she wanted me to read in the trash.
That was that morning?
I think so.
Were you trying to make it look like she threw it in the trash?
I love how every time he's asked a question, he does this in the Frederick Police Department interview. He does this in this interview every single time. The first answer to his question, although he's so malleable and, and easily influenced and, really easy to manipulate this dude, right? So the first answer he gives is always she's like, so what else did you do that we might not have found? And obviously she wants to know, like, big things that are indicators of what really happened in the commission of this crime. And she's like, oh, I threw the therapy book out, just this like little Chris Watts wuss answer. Ugh, so gross.
I don't know. I just I just didn't think nothing was ever going to work again. So I didn't know what was going on.
Did you go down to the basement? I thought the basement door open.
Yeah, the door is open, but yeah. So there was a lot of movement, I think it was around 426 or something. The garage door opening, the basement door opening, and then.
Now I want you to remember that time, guys. We're going to put some information together, some pieces of the puzzle together, and we are going to paint a picture and you're gonna be like, oh, damn, I never knew that. Look at that. It all fits. Now I know. Really important. Remember that time, 4:26 a.m.
Of course, the living room sensors and all. Do you remember what you were doing all during that time?
You had a lot of steps. I'll just say that.
So like the basement, I'm not sure. I mean, the only thing I really have down there is my workout, the bench press and whatnot.
Do you remember going down there for anything or opening that door for anything? Did you think about, well, maybe I'll take her out that way, or is it a walkout basement?
No,
It wasn't at your house. Okay.
It's like a garden level basement. So.
Okay.
But
I
now,
just want to point this out really quick.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh shoot! I went over. Anyway,
Oh, no.
I'll fix it.
Was it?
Oh, wait.
Look
Hold
at that.
up! Freaking YouTube video. Okay. So Teacup says, I can't believe CW laughs at Tammy's question about the phone in the couch. Well, this is a big tell of Chris Watts. Sometimes when, like a lot of times when people inappropriately laugh at something, it's due to anxiety or nervousness. This is something that people do, and it doesn't mean that they committed a crime. It doesn't even mean that they necessarily did anything wrong. Maybe the question just makes them feel uncomfortable. People who are like more, who pride themselves in their intellect, maybe a question is asked and they don't know the answer and they feel a little embarrassed. So they'll give like that nervous laugh. This is just something that we see in nonverbal behavior that can, tell you something about what's going on in a person's mind and behind the curtain. For Chris Watts, I feel that it is very safe to say that when Chris Watts laughs at him, that little wisply giggle, to a question that it's inappropriate to laugh. You shouldn't laugh. The question's serious, like, oh my God, I can't believe you just laughed. For him, obviously it's an expression of anxiety, but every time he like laughs in response to an inappropriate question's inappropriate for a laugh, really pay attention, because that is something that he wants to keep hidden. He's nervous about it. There's something there that he wants to cover up. I guarantee you this. So when you're saying you can't believe he laughs when Tammy asks the question about the phone in the couch, well, there you go. So consider that. I think it's very possible that the items that he pulled out of Shanann's Lexus when he first arrived back home at his house, and the police, Nicole Atkinson and her son and neighbor Nate, all heroes, by the way. On this channel, we do not entertain Nicole Atkinson being guilty for anything having to do with, being behind this crime. I give people so much liberty to say whatever they want in the comments and during chat, and all the time, because you guys have your opinions and I respect that. And you've heard different things. You come from different places. But Nicole Atkinson, there is no evidence to show that she has done anything criminal or that she had anything but love and worry and concern for Shanann. And, she has gone through hell. She's really struggled with the backlash that has existed in her world because of what people say about her. I don't understand it. She's a hero, in my opinion. So do just know that. Sorry, I kind of digress, but that's like really important to me. All right, here we go. Okay, I won't keep, let's just listen. I won't interrupt again. I will promise I won't interrupt again.
That was that morning.
Probably, I think so.
Were you trying to make it look like she threw it in the trash?
I don't know. I just didn't think nothing was ever gonna work again. So I didn't know what was going on.
Did you go down to the basement? I thought the basement door open.
Yeah, the door is open, but yeah. So there was a lot of movement, I think it was around 426 or something. The garage door opening, the basement door opening, and then of course the living room sensors and all. Do you remember what you were doing all during that time?
You had a lot of steps. I'll just say that.
So like the basement, I'm not sure. I mean, the only thing I really have down there is my workout. The bench press.
Do you remember going down there for anything or opening that door for anything? Did you think about, well, maybe I'll take her out that way, or is it a walkout basement?
No,
It wasn't at your house. Okay.
it's like a garden level basement. So.
Okay.
But no, I'm not really. What's that? I don't think it worked out that morning.
Like, were you packing your lunch in the kitchen? Like, did you have to do all that normal stuff? Okay.
I packed lunch and everything.
Now, guys, does anyone believe that Chris Watts really does not believe if he went down in the basement that morning? I mean, what do you think about that? And Crystal, that's right. Crystal says I have a PhD and I just clicked off of it, but something similar to what I do. I'm a you guys all know I'm a behavioral therapist, so something similar to that. So that's right, Crystal. And I'm so glad you could be here tonight. So I'd like to know what you think about all this too. Yeah. I don't know if you ever want to come up on a panel, let me know. I would love that.
About that, I don't remember about the basement. Unless I just worked out that morning, I just don't remember. I don't think I did.
He's nervous right now.
So one of the more.
Unless there was a trash bag down there.
Yeah, you got trash bags for there.
Maybe it wasn't even garage. I went down there and got one.
Okay, so the way that he's phrased, some of you, you guys recently turned me on to Deception Detective, love him. So I know that a lot of you watch him. So the way that he just phrased that right there, she said, maybe there wasn't any trash bag in the garage, so I had to go down in the basement. So, what he is saying out loud is what is going on in his mind there is he's thinking about how do I wiggle my way out of this question? He's clearly very nervous. He does not want to answer the question. Did he go down in the basement? They're pressing him here about him possibly going down the basement more than, really that they have in the entirety of the, let's see, 4 plus 7 plus 13 plus hours of recorded interviews that they have with the man. I mean, it's just the questioning is just so crazy in this case. Not only Nicole Kessinger, but even of Chris Watts, it boggles the mind. But anyhow, he says, well, maybe there wasn't any trash bags in the garage, so I went down in the basement. So he's saying out loud kind of what's going on in his mind is he's trying to formulate what he can say to try to get them off topic, but he accidentally says his thought out loud. Like, let's see, maybe I can tell him that there was no trash bags in the garage. Tried to go in the basement. Yeah, but he just says it out loud. I mean, that's really clear to me.
Do you normally carry a roll of trash bags in your truck?
No.
So there was a roll in the truck.
I was.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I just grabbed it and brought it with me.
That would have been kept in the basement, maybe, or
It's not in the garage.
in the garage. I'm sorry, what were you saying, Graham?
One of the more kind of poignant or tender moments in all of this was seeing your dad when he came in. What was it like when you picked him up at the airport?
Okay, so I want.
It
This is
was-
also interesting to me every time, but what I wanted to get at there was, the discussion about him going into the basement. So there's just like 1 minute of that. I just want to play again so everybody hears it and listens carefully, and then we're gonna move on. See, right about there, I think.
You're on the counter.
She took it off, or did you take it off?
I took it off.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, so that would look like she was saying, "I want a divorce. I'm leaving it here when I take it off." I see.
So the phone and her watch and the couch, was that morning before you left to go to surgery?
That's, I think, Nicole's son found it or something.
Yeah.
What other things did you do that maybe we even missed?
So the phone and watch. Yeah. I think I threw the therapy book she wanted me to read in the trash. I don't know.
That was that morning.
I think so.
Were you trying to make it look like she threw it in the trash?
I don't know. I just
Oh.
I just didn't think nothing was ever gonna work again. So I didn't know what was going on.
Did you go down to the basement? I thought the basement door open.
Yeah, the door is open, but yeah. So there was a lot of movement, I think it was around 4:26 or something. The garage door opening, the basement door opening, and then of course the living room sensors and all. Do you remember what you were doing all during that time?
You had a lot of steps. We'll just say that.
So like the basement, I'm not sure. I mean, the only thing I really have down there is my workout, the bench press.
Do you remember going down there for anything or opening that door for anything? Did you think about, well, maybe I'll take her out that way, or is it a walkout basement?
No,
It wasn't at your house. Okay.
it's like a garden level basement. So.
Okay.
But no, I'm not really. What's that? I don't think I worked out that morning.
Like, were you packing your lunch in the kitchen? Like, did you have to do all that normal stuff? Okay.
I lunch and everything.
Dude, that is so inflammatory, right? He packed himself a fucking lunch. Oh my God. He kills his family, but he packs himself a lunch. I mean, it's just disgusting. Yeah, and like what you were just saying, yeah, there's no way he worked out
Did
that
all that.
morning.
I
Whoops.
don't remember about the base.
He didn't have time. And I mean, yeah, he did pack himself a lunch, but considering the activities he was up to and, understanding he had to clean up to a certain degree, there he obviously didn't work out. Him just even saying that, well, I don't think I worked out that morning, is another indicator that whatever they are asking about here with, did you go down in the basement, is something that he wants to take to the grave.
Unless I just worked out that morning, I just don't remember. I don't think I did.
You already said that, Chris.
So one of the more
Unless there was a trash bag down there at that time.
Yeah, you got trash bags from there.
Maybe there wasn't any in the garage, and I went down there and got one.
Do you normally carry a roll of trash bags in your truck?
No.
Okay, so anyway, so there we go. We heard that. So, here's one of the things that they can tell partly by the phone data in combination with the Vivint alert system and, the forensic data that they can find out. Well, the data they can find out from that used for forensic purposes is, it's just absolutely really remarkable. And analyzing this data can answer a lot of questions, the questions that everybody wants answers to, and it's not for nothing. This crime, is, we all know, is just so horrendous. And that's what's the obsession. That's why we're obsessed. It's like, this human, like this need, this drive to understand how another human being that, in so many ways we can relate to could do this. How could that happen? Right. So something that will give us a clue to that, since Chris obviously ain't going to tell us, And most of us can't even kind of, sort of, in any way understand a mind that works like this. The information that we can find is in this cell phone and other, forensic data that is some in the discovery and some not in the discovery. So let me just go to chat super quick, and then I'm going to go into analyzing some of the data. So let's see here. Oh, hey, let's see. Thank you so much, Sherry, for the super sticker. I really appreciate you. I'm so glad you're here again, too. So thank you so much for supporting the channel, for supporting me, and I really appreciate it. Utter, I'm so glad you're here as well. Utter's another one that's been here from just about the beginning. Please show Kelly your appreciation by hitting that like. Yes, please do. I'd really appreciate it. Yes, and you can become a member for, it's just $2.99 a month. Oh, and I also want to tell you, when I was talking about having the Tilted Lawyer on, maybe this Friday, or if not very soon, we've been emailing back and forth, and I just, I was giving him some possible dates to schedule it. He's totally down. We're excited. The night before, I'm going to do a members only live stream so we can talk about the questions that you want to ask him, him as a lawyer. And then those are the questions that I will ask him. So, yeah. Okay. Just 1 second. I've got to tell my son to turn it down again. Sorry. You know what? Here, I'm just going to change my location. Just let me get all my critical things with me and move, because, they're 15-year-old boys, and they're not going to stop gaming and listening to loud music and squealing like schoolgirls. Just kidding. If anyone that knows my son and his best friend heard that. All right, hold it. Let me just move. Let me move. To a quiet staircase. Okay. Yeah. Oh, Just Nate, thank you so much. Just Nate just gifted 5 Watts the Obsession memberships. It was so nice of you, Just Nate. Just Nate. Or he just did, or I'm not sure if he just did. just, right? It's like NK with her likes. Oh my gosh. Hi, Muck Boys. How are you doing? Subrosa says, can we get District Attorney Rourke removed? I don't know. You might have some power if you're in Colorado, if you're in Weld County, especially. Unfortunately, we might just have to wait it out. Oh, and what's this? Margie Singer, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Thank you so very much. She says, love your thoughts on the Watts case. Hope the truth comes out someday. Oh, I do too. And thank you so much. My gosh, it's needed. We need the truth. Sometimes I think when people are like demanding things, in regards to a true crime case, I was watching a channel that, I don't know, I feel kind of like lukewarm about, and I'm not going to mention it, but this person was saying things like, they could give us this. Why didn't they give us this? Why didn't they give us that? Why didn't they give us this kind of information? Well, guys, the discovery is for the purpose. Well, and most of you guys know this. You all know this. You guys are all smart. You know this, but I'm just kind of venting. The discovery is for the purpose of the trial. It's for the purpose of sharing information with each side. So nobody is winning by the element of surprise. Trials aren't supposed to have gotcha moments. They're supposed to carefully vet out the information so a jury of your peers can, decide by whatever standard, it is under, depending on what the case is. And that's that. If there's corruption, if there is, intentional hiding of facts, if there is the intention by authority figures to deceive the public, that is one thing. But for the investigators and people in law enforcement and the judicial system in this country, well, anywhere, that are doing their job well, and most of them do, and they're doing what they're supposed to do, and they're putting forth facts, and it's towards the case, so the defense and the prosecution can battle it out. They don't owe us anything more, and that just kind of drives me crazy. But as far as this case goes, because District Attorney Rourke accepted Watts' plea deal based on a confession that was false and incomplete, without even, putting forth that term of his plea deal would have to be that he would have to actually come out and admit what really happened. I mean, it's just unbelievable to me that he didn't do that. And he allowed that plea deal to go through. He accepted that plea deal without investigating the faults and incomplete confession that Chris Watts did give them. Just like, oh, okay, well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to accept this plea deal, and the rest of the world is going to accept it. And nothing to see here behind the curtain, junior detectives. Don't worry about it. Please look the other way. So yeah, I think in this case, district attorney and his people do owe the public something, because after all, they are working on our behalf. So yeah. They're some of my favorites lately. Tilted Lawyer and Deception Detective, both great channels. Kind Colorado says, I think that Deception Detective will eventually conclude that NK is involved the more he gets into his analysis of the case. I think that's possible. I'm not sure which way he's going to go, because with each of the 3 successive videos that he's put out, he's been a little more willing to say, okay, well, this isn't right. I'm not sure, I just haven't, I'm not ready to say that she's guilty of anything, but we can feel him easing up a little bit, right? Because he doesn't know all that much about the case. He just wants to do what he does, which is statement analysis, without being influenced by all this background knowledge, which I think is great. But he is learning more. And as you learn more, a natural consequence of learning more about this case and learning more about Nicole Kessinger is starting to feel like, bitch, be guilty, So that's, I think, what we're witnessing happening to him. Hi, Bebop. How are you? I haven't seen you in a while. Nice to see you. All right. So bringing something different here into the stream. Now, okay. So I have 2 different things that we're going to look at. One of them has to do with the data on Chris Watts' phone. Now, remember that Chris Watts' call records were never released. We don't have his phone data. We don't have his texts. We don't have any of that. In fact, Chris Watts nor his family even has his cell phone. Weld County still is holding on to the man's cell phone. Now, this is a question. Somebody, moderator, please, McJay, you're good at this. Could you mind putting in a text to me or something, or just remember this so we ask the Tilted Lawyer when he's here. What is up with Weld County still having Chris Watts' cell phone? That is not normal. I know that it has been discussed on this channel a number of times. I've heard other channels discussing it. It's just something strange that exists in this case. There's a reason they still have his phone. His family wants it back. Why do they still have Chris Watts' phone? So the information that we can analyze and look at and consider from Chris Watts' phone has to do more with the 360 Health app. So we're going to look at that. And the information, wow, there is a lot of it. A lot of relevant information, I should say. And welcome everybody who's just coming in. Welcome new members. That's awesome. And so happy you're all here. Is it? No. No. Oh, shoot. I closed the wrong window, I think. Somewhere around. So, yeah. Well, here, I'm going to let you just listen to Nicole Kessinger babble during the interview while I'm pulling up the video that I actually need to get here. Just give me 1 second. There, say whatever you want, Nicole Kessinger.
Okay, so if I can disprove something that may be important, that's what I need it for. I'm not saying I can. Has it happened before? Absolutely. Is it critical in cases that I've worked in the past? Yes. So that's why I want it. Okay. Again, you don't have to give it to me. You can tell me, I don't want you to have it. Go get a warrant. I'm not even going to tell you if I go get a warrant, try to get a warrant right now. I'm just asking for you to consent. And again, we can write right here what you're willing to give me, which is the text messages and the phone log. And unfortunately, again, the attachment's on some of those text messages, and I'll write it on there, and then you'll just sign it. Okay? Do you understand the questions there? Do you have questions about any of the things that it says? You understand you don't have to do this. You're doing it of your own free will. And I know you're tired, so if you want to let your dad read it too,
Thank you.
that's a good idea.
Can you fill it out before I sign it?
Yep. And just you read it, and if you have any questions, then we'll put on there what we're after.
I'm so hungry.
You should have told me. I would have got you some food. I got food in my car.
It's not staying down. It's just coming.
She hadn't been
back up.
feeling good, not because of any, just
Like I got sick prior to this
Jim.
whole thing happening, and then I think all of this compounded with
Stress.
the fact that I'm sick. It's just not good. I've not really been eating or sleeping much at all.
Oh my God, she's so unbearable. Insufferable. Skanky
I-
empanada.
I'm with you. We definitely need to accelerate the case because the more it takes, the less sure that they are of
Of what?
situations.
Of what? Of what, Dwayne?
But
Of
on
what?
the other end, I think if you do just that only,
You tell me what you're willing to provide
is
to
that,
me, and we'll
is
write
that
it
good
on.
enough?
You tell me what you're willing to
I just want,
provide.
like our text conversation, and then I guess our phone call record.
And don't look at all the secret apps I have on my phone so I could talk to him a million different ways. Okay, so that's enough of that. Let's see. I just want to show you really quick the video that I'm working on now that I was going to release this weekend, and maybe it'll come out tomorrow. Maybe it'll come out Tuesday. I'm really very excited about it, actually. How do I say? I think I'm just going to say I came across there were some Facebook posts that Shanann posted on Facebook the day before she was murdered on Monday, August 12th of 2018. So, I'm going to be introducing those and showing those to you. I'm going to be almost certain almost all of you haven't seen them, if anyone has. And then we are going to talk about a number of other things having to do with what is missing in the discovery and from any kind of record, as far as we know, about August 12th, 2018, the day before the murders. It is really crazy. It's just crazy. So let me just show you this as a little, preview of what we're going to be talking about. So if you can see this is a timeline. So it's August. Let me make this bigger for you here and get rid of the comments just so you can see this the best. Okay. So it's a timeline of August 8th, 2018 through August 14th, 2018. So the murders happened on the 13th, of course. So everything up top are things that are in the official discovery timeline. Like the Watts returning home from North Carolina on the 8th. Shanann flies to Arizona for the Thrive Convention on the 10th. On the 11th, Kessinger and Chris Watts go to dinner at the Lazy Dog. Also on the 11th, Nicole Kessinger, after they have their date at the Lazy Dog, Google searches Shanann Watts, Ronnie Watts, also Chris Watts. I just didn't put it in there because there was no space. And 2825 Saratoga Trail. It's weird, right? Interestingly enough, that is when all of a sudden Nicole Kessinger's appearance on the official discovery timeline just goes poof. It like mysteriously vanishes, which is super weird because she was all throughout that timeline. She literally appeared scores of times in that timeline that, strangely enough, started off, very first item on that timeline was Nicole Kessinger's search for Shanann Watts, Google search on September 1st, 2017, 9 months before Chris and Nicole even claimed to have met. It is so critical. There is such significance to the fact that the very first item on the entire case discovery file timeline is that search. So what they're essentially saying is, this is the first thing, this is the first event that kicked off the wheels that were turning that eventually led to this tragic, horrible day when Shanann, Bella, Cece, and Nico lost their lives, or their futures, so we can't forget that, how important that is, and how important their lives are, of course. So also what does appear obviously in the timeline is, well, it's the security camera footage of Watts in his driveway. Now, everything down in the bottom half that's in like kind of a red tone are things that we know happened that seem really important to the case investigation that did not appear on the official discovery timeline. This includes, I didn't finish it here because I have to put in all of the posts that were deleted and scrubbed from Shanann. And then also Nicole Kessinger's text to her friend Charlotte Nelson. And the reason that these texts are important is because, well, they are extensively discussed in the discovery. And also, this is the very first time that Nicole Kessinger even told her best friend, the person who she says, oh man, that girl is my world. The day before the murders is the first time she told her best friend about Chris Watts. And what does she mostly talk about? His kids and her being, I don't know, man, because she was going to be second fiddle, so to speak. She didn't want to be second. Yeah. And also what is missing from the official discovery timeline is the 111-minute phone call between Nicole Kessinger and Chris Watts that Kobach asked about no less than 9 times across the 4 times that he interviewed her. And I'm sure that I missed some of them, but I identified 9 times and I can show you exactly those times, growing increasingly agitated with each time that he has to ask her about what was said. And of course, Skanky Empanada don't know because she doesn't know anything. So, all right. So back to data. Oh God. This is a live stream where it was later in the day of the morning on Boxing Day, the day after Christmas. Remember this, Nancy? It would have been 3 Christmases ago. I remember I spent the phone on, I was texting with Nancy a lot that Christmas Eve because we were talking about channel stuff. Then I woke up early and that horrible channel was doing a live stream. This is when things really kicked off with him, when he was accusing Sandy Rusick of calling a hit on her daughter. And I just couldn't stand it anymore. And I said something, and his vengeance towards me and my channel started. And then he appeared in the live stream that same night, which is this video. And a lot of you guys were there. Oh, wait. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't bring it. Sorry, I didn't bring it into the stream yet. Did I? No, I didn't. I'm sorry about that. Here we go. So glad you guys are here. Welcome, everybody. If you just came in, hi. Hi, Truth Exposed. How are you doing? Hi, Muck Boys. I already said hi to you. Hi again, Muck Boys.
Dual core processor processes data twice as fast as a single core, and a quad core 4 times as fast as a single core. RAM for iPhones. RAM is not as important.
If you're lost, don't worry. Just keep listening.
Important as it is in an Android due to proprietary technology. However, several applications are running at once. A higher RAM phone will be more efficient. Conclusion: a better processor and higher RAM will ultimately make for a better and faster. Wonderful to see you. So this is really important because I do have.
Bear with me here.
One of my friends that I used to work with that I was telling you, and it's just looking at the different phones that were. Okay. And what carriers they had on them in 2018. Pretty cool, right? Okay. These reports include item at a time, not cherry pick.
Darn it. Oh, wait, hold it. Bear with me.
And
Intermission.
CD2. Reports should be reviewed. That is not going back to reliable or accurate. Okay.
Oh, I'm not. I was trying to find the point where Dave came in, and I love this moment. It's one of the highlights of my life. It's like my glory days moment. This is my glory days live stream because I got to tell Dave off. Oh, I wasn't going to say his name, but okay. Getting anyway to the data. Sorry, I just knew it was there, but I couldn't find the exact timestamp. Okay.
I did not agree on that last night whatsoever. I
Oh,
would
there we
never
go.
agree on that.
I don't know what.
Okay, Chris Watt's work phone is in red in this presentation for clarity. So there were 481 steps around 4:30 a.m. We do know.
Okay.
We do not know why. That should say do
So
not know
right
why.
off the bat
okay?
here, you know what? I'm just going to read this because I can talk in my current self, not my former self. So there was 481 steps around 4:30. So remember that Dave Baumhover mentioned 4:26 a.m. as a time where a Vivint alert went off, indicating that he went down into the basement. Well, Chris Watt's 360 Health app iPhone data shows that right around that same time, he clocked 481 steps. So that's a lot of steps, at that time at 4:30 in the morning. I'm usually very rare when 4:30 in the morning, I'm taking 481 steps, right? It makes sense that very few steps were clocked around 6 a.m., the time Chris Watts was driving to Survey 319. You see, there were steps clocked from 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. continuously. So except for right around 6 a.m. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. Yes, there were steps clocked. That doesn't make sense. Okay, but we're going to move on.
It makes sense that phones use satellites to connect to the area in as far as geotab goes. Okay.
Let me just get to the next little segment. Ugh.
So that.
Oh, wait. Oh, look, we just saw our friend there. Wait, what happened? What happened?
I mean, I'm not doing that at 4:30 a.m. That's for sure. So at 6 a.m., the steps drop significantly. And, at this point, as you're going to see, the work phone and the cell phone and the personal phone are together. And then here on the work phone, we see around, it looks like around 7, the activity increases, the steps increase. And then at 8, the steps increase even more. So he's at work, he's working, he's walking around, people are there. All of this is going on. Yeah, he was a busy guy. Phones use satellites to connect to the area as far as geotab goes. Okay, so there's a whole lot of information on this. Some of it out there is correct, some of it isn't correct. And I'm going to go over that in this presentation. It is not accurate. This statement is not accurate. The statement of phones use satellite to connect to the area, not cell towers. That is not an accurate statement. That should not be out there. It is not accurate.
True story, guys. But some people don't know their truth from their facts. So seeking the truth must be kind of difficult.
So that. So Chris Watt's work phone, again, noted in red in this presentation for clarity. Here is the walking and running distance data. So again, around 4:30 a.m., some distance was clocked. It makes sense, again, that around 6 a.m., very little distance was covered. I did not agree, Dave. I'm not even going to ask you to show me where I agree because I don't agree with that. So if I agreed, my bad. I'm a human being. Sometimes I make mistakes. I don't claim to know all things about everything like some other people I know. So if I agree to that, my bad. I do not agree with that. That's not an accurate statement. Hi, Pride and Honesty. How you doing? So it makes sense again that around 6.
I'm sorry. I just got lucky that that's when this was all happening because I was talking about this stuff. That actually part wasn't intentional. So now we're looking at Chris Watt. Now listen, we have Chris Watt's Chris Watt's work phone and his personal phone to get data from. So when you look at the two and you compare them, you can tell some interesting things from that as well. And Anaplex says, thank you for banning him. I'm glad it was an honor. And I just want to state again, because I said it earlier, and now my moderators and you guys in chat are having to pick up, do the work for me saying that. I did say earlier, guys, on this channel, I like to let people speak their minds, even on really sensitive issues. I usually say, and this is true in comments. If you were just in comments, it would be different. But in chat, let me just explain. I literally do not erase a comment on this channel unless, like, my standard is if it's hateful or vile, or if it's like doxing someone or, something that like breaks the guidelines or is going to put someone in danger, of course, then I remove it. it's not common at all. Sometimes I'll put a video out that'll just attract a certain kind of controversy where it, might happen a few times, but it's not something I regularly do. There are comments throughout my entire channel that absolutely trash me. So it's not like I'm, trying to prune my comments to make me look good. I don't need to do that because it's not about me. It is about your comments, because your comments are your thoughts. And in discussing true crime cases, the reason that humans do it is to, it's like a human drive, a human need to understand one another and to commune with one another and to together better understand things that we don't understand, that usually we fear, because underlying all of that is our innate sense of survival. But that's kind of a whole different conversation. And so I allow that to happen. I want that to happen on this channel. This channel isn't give props to Kelly. This channel is about community and understanding human behavior and finding justice for people that can no longer find justice for themselves, or family members that are too hurt and vulnerable right now. They need help. They need support. We're here for them. Okay. But I'm going to say this. What I said tonight was, I know that recently, because of a couple channels out there is once again a wave of hate towards Nicole Atkinson. Again, if you just wrote something in the comments, unless it was hateful or vile, I wouldn't delete it. But I don't want to be part of that wave that is directing hate towards her actively right now. So I'm going to affirmatively say no to that. There is no evidence that shows in any way, shape, or form that Nicole Atkinson did anything wrong, that she did anything illegal, that she did anything that was ill-intended. I've gone over this before. I'm not going to go into it again. It makes absolute sense that she did every single thing that she did. When people and if you have questions about her, that's fine. And if you say, well, I do have questions about her, like, that's okay. But I don't want to be accusing her. She has taken so much hate and her life has suffered so much from being what, in my opinion, how I see it is. I'm not saying you have to see it this way, but I see it. She was being a great friend, and she was caring about her friend, and she was taking action to, she thought somebody was in trouble and she took action. And, why is that a bad thing? So, thank you guys, everyone, chat moderators who are, enforcing that, because I am the one, yes, who said, I don't want to hear nasty things about Nicole Atkinson, please. Thank you. I appreciate it.
6 a.m., very little distance was covered. This ostensibly was when he was in his truck going to Survey, or somewhere else, some people think, possibly Survey. The distance clocked after 6 a.m. when Watts would have arrived at Survey, again, increased. That makes good sense, right? So this is all sensible.
All right, I'm going to go forward a little bit, and then, and you know what? Let's see. You know what? I think I'm going to go to, I think that this topic with a 360 health data and all of that, it's going to come into play with what I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But I think if we're going to go this much into detail with it, I need to give you guys a little more context, because I can already see that in chat, we are all over the place with our background knowledge of this and understanding of this. And I don't want to totally lose people on it. So just know that Shanann and Chris Watts' phones were both forensically analyzed with the 360 health app data. And when you do look at that, you can tell a lot about Chris Watts' movements and the movement of Shanann's phone as well, which is really interesting. Now, why is this important to what we're talking about today? Because what I really am talking about underneath all of it, no surprise, is going to be, is really, was there anyone else involved in committing this crime? We know that Chris Watts gave an incomplete and false confession, upon which the district attorney accepted a plea, ceased to continue the investigation, and left the whole world hanging. But more importantly, he also did not deliver complete justice, to the community that he serves as district attorney. And he just basically did a really shoddy job, which is why fundamentally, there are all those crazy conspiracies out there about this case. That's why there is so much buzz about it. That is why people are demanding answers. And that is why he did no service to any of us, his own community, local community, or Nicole Kessinger when he, oh God, I have like really nasty things that aren't appropriate to say out loud in my head when I start talking about him, because he was a wussy boy. There we go. And didn't do his job properly. Now, tying that together, when you do analyze Chris Watts and Shenan's to some degree too, yeah, absolutely. His work and personal phone 360 life app data, you can, and in conjunction with the Vivint system in his house, the security system, you can tell where he was and where he was not. Now, he says that, he took his wife's life in their bed after they had sex, got on top of her, straddled her. She was awake. She didn't fight back. He has this whole story about it. Bella walked in. Here's the thing, guys. The data and the information in the 360 Life app does not support that story at all. Why is that important? Well, if evidence doesn't support the story he has been telling us, it is false. And then we have to ask what really happened, right? So that's where I was going with all of that. But I don't want to get you guys in the weeds there. So, thank you so much, Crystal, for the super chat. She says, I look at the timeline and wonder if anything could have stopped this. I know. It keeps me up at night. What, if anything, it's the watershed decision. I know, Crystal, absolutely. I mean, gosh, how many people feel that way? It just feels like something could have stopped this. Absolutely. Lily Rose is a new member. Welcome, Lily Rose. That's awesome. Thank you for joining. And then Crystal says, and thank you again, the phones should show flights climbed up the steep stairs to the hatch. Does it? It's showing movement, but what about the flights? Okay, well, I do have an answer to that question. Do you guys want to talk? Do you guys want to go into this or not? Can you just tell me in chat really quick if you want to, yes or no? Like kind of like Crystal, I'm going to answer her question, but do you want to go, how deep do you want to go? Do you want to keep going into that or not? The 360 health app data that shows flights climbed and steps and that kind of thing. Or should we table it for another time? 1 is yes, you want to go into it. 2 is no thanks. Let's do it another time. No, I got anaphylaxis on that. So 1 is you want to keep going into that stuff here right now. 2 is no thanks, maybe later. Oh, okay, you guys do. Okay, fine, good, great. Oh, okay, all right, wow. I don't know why I thought you guys wouldn't want to. Sometimes you just got to ask. You got to ask. What do they say? It's better to ask for permission than beg for forgiveness. I was thinking about that earlier. I don't know why. Okay. All right. So let me switch it up here. Oh, no, I don't have to. I already got the video. Bebop says, the only one I do not suspect is Betty, the awesome neighbor who minded her own business. No, we don't suspect Betty. She's awesome. Oh my gosh. So let's see. Walk Away Renee says yes, because LO, who's LO? Wants to die on the hill that those flights weren't clocked. So therefore, CW didn't do it. Yeah, but that's totally wrong thinking. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. You remember this, Nancy? Remember when we went over this a couple of years ago? Yeah, there's some channels on there that say, well, because Chris Watts, when he was at Survey 319, I'm going to show you all that in a second. His health app, I'm just going to say his health app instead of his 360, because I keep wanting to tongue twist that. So his health app showed that he took a lot of steps once he got out to Survey 319. Now you can look at his health app data in conjunction with his location information and know that he was absolutely at Survey 319 when he took a shitload of steps, but he didn't climb any stairs. So there are channels that are, I don't know, they would throw down to, they're just demanding, well, then obviously he didn't put the children in the tanks because he didn't climb any stairs. But here's the thing, guys. Well, let's think about why that logic doesn't really work. What do you guys think in chat? Leave Nancy alone. So funny, guys. Love you. Let's see. Guys are so funny. Let's see. Chris Watt's personal phone. Let's see. I'm just like looking in this video really quick to see. All right. Yeah. All right. So let me just grab some information there that's important then. Okay. All right. Okay, so let me just tell you this additional information about Chris Watt's work phone. So now I'm just talking about the work phone. Remember, he had his work phone and personal phone. And then I'm going to answer the question about the steps, Crystal. Just stay with me here. So we see additionally on his work phone that around 4:30 a.m., some distance was clocked. And now the reason I mention that is because on his personal phone, there was that 481 steps climb. There was that big spike, remember? And that is also when the piece of the interview we just listened to, when Dave Baumhover said to Chris, yeah, well, around 4:26, the Vivint alert went off, indicating that the basement door was opened, right? And he's like, basement? I don't know anything about the basement, you know? So then, okay, so we know that about his work phone. So, okay, so now we're talking distance. I'm sorry, I just had to take that all in. So again, around 4:30 a.m., some distance was clocked. This makes sense, right? Because we know that he had all those steps. Okay, so that's enough, I think, about his work phone. Yep. So I mean, guys, he clocked a shitload of steps around 4 a.m. like a lot. Nobody's stepping that much. All right. At that time,
he probably said it about 20 times. Well, he did say that personally to me on the phone several times.
Oh God, I'm talking about Dave again. Oh, well, you know what? The whole world should hear this anyway.
They were talking about Sandy Rusick, who my heart goes out to the woman. I have no criticism of her. You know, I said earlier in this live, if I had been through that trauma, I may have gone freaking batshit crazy. I don't know. Like, I can't, I'm so sorry for that family. I want to cry just thinking about it. Every time I think about it, it's terrible. Okay. So Pride or Honesty, I see your, okay, I gotcha. I see your comment, and I'd like to ask you some more questions about that sometime. Okay. Hi, Joan Bradley. How are you? It's okay. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Lily. I appreciate it. I'm sorry I blocked him from chat. I just think he's like kind of like going crazy with this now. So anyway, I made a comment like, well, of course, if people are saying that she had a hand in, you know, killing her daughter and her granddaughters, of course she's not going to like be favorable to you or whatever.
Because he was saying on this day, this is 2.5 years ago, and he had been telling me this before. I was like talking with him a lot the summer before, when he was going through his, what I call like trying to court a channel to hitch his wagon onto, because he doesn't really stand alone well. You know, he had, you know, kept trying to fly this theory by me that Sandy Rusick ordered a hit on her daughter. And that was it. And he had proof. And they also, you know, roped Dirty South Wheels and Custom Wheels, her former employer in North Carolina. She worked there for a long time. And by the way, at the time of her death, she was still friends with her former boss, Hashan. And so he was trying to, you know, sell people on this story because, you know, he's always looking for what is going to be scandalous and sell on YouTube so his channel can stay afloat. It was terrible.
And he was like, I have never said that. Like he probably said it about 20 times. Well, he did say that personally to me on the phone several times. And that's at the point when I was like, I think I am separating from this idea, because I don't believe that at all. At the time when I was talking to him about it, it was that Sandy
there you go.
Rusick ordered.
I'm just going to say what I already said. So anyway, there's that. Okay.
Okay. So this is his work phone again. Okay. So this is where that 902 information came in, which is, thank you very much, Debbie. I really appreciate it very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, Joan. I appreciate it very much. I'm just so over it. And I don't want, I know I'm going to be attacked now because of what just happened. You all witnessed it.
Oh my God.
Whatever.
Oh my God. If I could only tell my former self how bad it was going to be, I had no idea what I was in for. Ugh. But now I'm all the smarter and wiser, and I have tougher skin.
It just means nothing to me. So this is where the 902 narrative came in, which is not correct. I'm sorry. I think TJ works hard. I think she does some good work. I think she used to do awesome work. I think her work is like now. I think that she's gotten pulled.
This is TJ from the channel Red X I was talking about. And now I just think, I don't know what I think. I'll save that for another day.
Into that narrative. And that just makes you change your perspective on things. So this is nothing personal against her. I think she's, I used to be her biggest fan. But she was looking at one piece of information. I think that is not reliable. I understand that the Geotab runs on satellite. That's not enough to even cover along with this information in one live. I will be getting to it this week. So I don't want to say that I don't have an understanding of it, or I haven't covered it, or saying that I don't have an understanding of an industry that I worked in, and the Apple expert Jeff knows everything. I'd like to know what his position and qualifications are. I don't need to hear it anymore. I'm over it. So 902, we see. Okay. So we do see that Chris Watt's work phone logged into this spot, or was picked up in this spot through his iPhone, which this significant location feature works on cell phone towers starting at 9:02 a.m. Okay, well, he's not there until 9:02 a.m. So I'm assuming that prior to 9:02.
Actually, this isn't terribly relevant to what we're trying to talk about. I'm sorry. All right. So now we're going to look at Chris Watt's personal phone.
Tanya says significant location only log.
So what I was explaining here, and this is something that's important to know, is the technology that iPhones still use. It's still the same, and they were using this at that time as well. Were and are, and even more so now. My God! And this is why, guys, this is why I am telling you, there is no way Brian Koberger is being prosecuted with the death penalty on the table, when the state's team does not have all the information I'm going to talk about in the bag and all tied up and, ready to throw in the dump trunk along with Brian Koberger. This is just how I believe it. The technology they use combines cell pings, essentially, and triangulation in conjunction with GPS locating technology, which has the capability, which is amazing because it uses satellites that are orbiting around Earth. I think there's 26 of them. And it's crazy how they do it. I explained it earlier in this video if you want to watch it, but it uses both of those. It uses both of those things to pinpoint your location within, usually, no matter where you are in the world and how accurate this is, within 10 to 16 feet. That's the accuracy, 10 to 16 feet. So that 6-foot differential of how accurate your iPhone can locate you has to do with whether you're in an urban area or you're way out in the sticks, where your triangulation aspect is not going to be as strong. But it's basically, it's Teflon.
Dave's channel, he was like, it was taken on his work. It was taken on his personal phone. It's in black and white. It was taken on his personal phone. Item 4.
Okay, we're talking. Okay. Oh, this is important too, actually. Okay. So, oh goodness. Let me make sure it was the picture that we're talking about there, because this is actually important, having to do with NK.
That's not a good security tip right there. The phone was removed from the evidence packaging and placed into a Ramsey box. And again, I talked about what that is. You guys might know anyway. And it was not on airplane mode. They had to switch it to airplane mode to ensure that nobody could access it remotely, you know. Let's see, one switch to airplane mode, the phone was processed using the tools described above. I briefly reviewed the phone's contents and noted several artifacts which were documented by way of processing photos. Some of these photos have been provided below. Photographs were taken on 8/13/2008 in the Rogan area, and this is the information that can be found at the location.
Okay, so this is why this is important. Now, what this is referring to, and I don't think I have the pictures attached in this presentation, but I'm going to try to find it really quick in Discovery. Oh my God, I just clicked on Discovery and it's right there. It's meant to be. I got just really excited about that. Now, do you guys hear that? I got stoked because I am stoked because check this out. So what the information that you're looking at right there, it means nothing without a greater context. But what it is saying is 2 pictures were taken on Chris Watts' personal phone at 7:18 a.m. and I think it's like 12:16, like noon 16, and that's what that's talking about right there. So what are those pictures of, and why is it important that they were taken on his personal phone? Oh my God, this just gets so freaking twisted and deep. Okay, so here, one of the pictures was this. It was the evidence of the oil release that was happening at Survey 319, which is the apparent reason that Chris Watts had to go straight out to Survey 319 on the morning of August 13th, rather than doing what Nicole Kessinger finally admitted was like sort of not normal, that he normally would go to work. Okay, so he took this picture at 7:18 a.m. of the oil release, okay? So this is another thing that is not included in the Discovery timeline. Well, obviously this is, but what I'm about to tell you, that we know is fact and is really important to the case. Chris Watts also sent this picture here to Nicole Kessinger, but that doesn't exist in this timeline. Why did he send it to Nicole Kessinger? Because as Nicole Kessinger says in her own words, in the second half, the redacted portion of her interview from August 21st, 2018, I recently uploaded it on my channel, so you can go check it out for yourself if you want to. She had maintained up until this point when she slipped that she did not talk on the phone with Chris Watts at all during the day on the day that the family was murdered on August 13th. But she then tells Kevin Kobach, and I'm sure the reason why she tells him this is she starts to think about things and all of the things that they are going to see when they eventually get the information from her phone, the text messages and the communications. She's like, I am so freaking screwed. I am such a screwed empanada. I am a screwed skanky empanada. What am I going to do? So she has to make up a story to try to cover her ass, her skanky empanada ass. So she tells Kevin Kobach, you know, all of a sudden she changes her story saying, it was really weird that Chris went out to Survey 319 that day directly. That was really weird. And I started questioning that and being like, why the heck would he do that? Even though into last interview, she said it was no big deal. But, you know, we know she's a liar, skanky liar, empanada liar, pants on fire, empanada. And then she says, as she's telling Kevin Kobach that now all of a sudden over the course of a couple of days, I think it's really weird. And I think it's so weird that I was questioning him about it. And I didn't believe him. And I thought that it was so weird. And I thought so strongly that he was lying to me. I told him that he needed to send evidence to me that he was really out there. I demanded evidence from him, proof that he was really out at Survey 319 because I didn't believe him. Because why would he go directly there and not stop at the office? That never happens. Oh my God, dude, you just said the total opposite like 2 days ago. Anyway, she slips up by saying twice, you know, so he sent me this picture of the oil release and he sent it while I was still on the phone with him. What? Yo, you said so many times that you did not talk to Chris Watts on the phone during the day on Monday, August 13th. Are you guys all following me? This gets so complicated and it's just like so much. But so why is all of this important? Well, first of all, why is it important that, let me get back to the other one. See, you got to let's keep putting these pieces together, and there's importance when you do. You almost got sidetracked. I'm going to bring it back. So why is it important that the pictures that were taken at 7:18 a.m., which was a picture of that oil release, and 12:16, or I'm sorry, yeah, 12:16, like noon 16, after he had already found out, he got the call from Nicole Kessinger, can't find Shanann. He was supposed to be going straight home. The police are waiting. He did not go straight home. Another one of the things he did, in addition to stopping at the big, like, what's it called? That like construction dump bin or whatever that was really close to his house, right in his subdivision where Jane's dog hit, but they ignored Jane's dog. Oh God, so many. He stopped to dump his clothes and probably the kids' toys and a bunch of other things. He also stopped to take a picture of a field of wildflowers because Skanky Empanada liked not skanky wildflowers. So these two items were taken on his personal phone, and that's important because whether it was sent through text messaging or whether it was sent through a secret app or a not secret way of communication that Nicole Kessinger denied using, like WhatsApp or, whatever. I can't think what the other ones are now, but there's a million of them. He took these photos, the wildflowers and the oil release, on his personal phone, or they ended up being on his personal phone because they were sent to Nicole Kessinger. Everything else that he did that day on that morning of the 13th, while he was out at survey, was done on his work phone. You feel me? So that's why that's important. And, it's just further evidence that, well, I don't know if they found those pictures through text messages, because they did recover all the text messages. I've already told you guys that, from a source very close to the case, to my friend Alex, the defense attorney that I've talked about a million times, who told me and probably wishes he never did. But hi, Alex, I'm sorry. It's important because if law enforcement didn't find those pictures sent from Chris Watts to Nicole Kessinger in her text messages, that means absolutely that they were using another means of communication that she was hiding up. So you better find out what that is, follow that trail, because, oh my gosh, I'm sure there's a motherfucker of, scandalous information in whatever secret apps they were using, right? Okay. So you see how all this information, when you're just reading that, you're like, oh, so what? This is so boring. If you start to stack it up, it's significant.
On the Celebrite report. Okay. So one of these is the 718.
Okay. So I already told you guys about that. All right. Okay.
Then there's more to that too. So I shouldn't have even put that out there just yet. So let's wait. Okay.
So now we're looking at his personal phone.
So yes, that's right. He was bullying Kelly. It was mean. Yes, he's
I wish this wasn't the one where Dave kept interfering with everything as always. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So it's the same slide. Sorry. Okay. So again, personal phone, purple, Chris Watts, personal phone item.
Crystal, I didn't forget about you. We're getting to the answer to your question.
40. So these are the steps taken. So again, all of the repetition here is just to show the point of, we really know the pattern of his movement at this time. Okay. So
his health app gives a really clear indication of how much the man was moving at exactly what hours of the early morning and when he got to survey, which gives us information towards uncovering that big mystery that we really want to know about. That is, what is the truth of what happened that morning? It's so horrible. We have to know. We want to know. We have a need to know, and it's normal. It's a human mechanism rooted in our desire to survive. And, this gives us the most information we can get at this point, since they didn't investigate jack squat and Chris Watts is a liar.
Let's see. That was said. Is that a question, Joan? So again, at 4:30, there were a lot of steps taken. Again, at around 6 o'clock, those steps decreased dramatically, which makes sense because he was ostensibly in the car on the way to survey.
Okay, so again, just like with his work phone, he takes a lot of steps around 4:30. That same time when Dave Baumhover says, after what's her name? Oh my God, Tammy Lee asks if he went down in the basement. He answers very nervously. Dave Baumhover kicks in too. They actually hold him on the question rather than let him take a pass like almost every other time. So they must really want to know if he went in the basement. And I really want to know why they had such a strong curiosity, because unfortunately, this investigation team did not show a strong enough curiosity about a number of things they should have had, intent curiosity about in this case, in my opinion. So Chris Watts was definitely moving around a lot at around 4:30 a.m. So here's the other piece of information. Then I'm going to get to the question about Survey. Based on the Vivint data, which Vivint is a home security system, we know that, I don't remember the specific hours, guys. I didn't think about it. I should have grabbed them before. I've got them somewhere. But the hours that we know something went down in that house, that Shanann walked into a horrific fate that she never deserved, and those poor girls, we can't even imagine the nightmare. But during most of that time, from 1:48 a.m. when Shanann got home till when he, started packing his truck, he was on the first floor then, going in and out, there was barely any movement on the first floor. So, that tells us something right there. But let me keep going with this
or just
to get to the survey answers.
Way to somewhere else if you don't agree with that. Okay. So,
let's get to the next graph visual here.
Shown due to the phone being off the network. Okay.
Don't need to know about that right now.
On here. In the very beginning of this,
this isn't going to be relevant right now either. Okay.
Why? Because I've given them way too much money in my lifetime. You'll clear.
Just want to get to the graphs.
Let's see. So, oh wait.
Okay. So what does it say here? So it says at 6:59 a.m. on the morning of August 13th, Cody Roberts told Chris Watts. Roberts told Watts, "Oh, I guess I'm headed out that way to start up 1029, and Chad will be meeting us out there. We'll be meeting out there." Watts replied, "Okay." At 7:18, Watts took a photograph of this Oh, that was a photograph of his laptop. Oh my gosh. I'm not going to smooth that over because that's not really relevant right now anyway. Okay. So now we're going to look at, this is the walking and running distance on his personal phone. We're interested now in when he was at Survey 319, because we're going to answer Crystal's questions.
Open here. So does that information so far?
Okay. So anyway, the point is we see through the walking and running distance data, we see the very same pattern that we did with his work phone. But here's the interesting thing with this, guys. Is that going to make it bigger? No. Well, you can't, let's see. This is so small here. Okay. Wait, I've got to try to see it clearly myself. 4, 6, 8. Okay. So you see this, this graph here from his 360 Health app data. We see that big spike kind of in the middle. That's the distance he walked or ran. And that was at that time around 4:30 when there was a lot of movement, when shit must have been going down, and he was like all over the place on whatever floor of that house, definitely went into the basement. And there was an insane amount of movement by Chris Watts for the period of time that we're looking at, and certainly for that hour of the morning, right? Now, the next spike we see it's not as significant, so it's not as many steps, but trust me, that big spike is like a ton of movement at that time that it's recording. The next spike is, right around, let me make sure, I have to make sure I'm right about this. Yeah, so it's so hard to see. 4, 6. Darn, I can't see this damn picture. Okay, well, it was at the time when he was at Survey. So at Survey, I can't tell exactly when it was because I would just be like lying to you because I can't see the numbers because the picture's not a good one. So we do know, like Crystal said, that he had a lot of steps around that time. He covered a decent amount of distance, just walking around. And I mean, you can walk in the same 2-foot radius circle for, all day long and walk a couple miles, right? And where's the steps? I better have the steps on here. Do I not have the freaking steps? Okay, so you're just going to have to take my word from it. Crystal knew it. So during that time when, it's got to be in here. Hold on, let me just look really quick. Walk run distance. Shit, I gotta go put my phone in. I feel like I just have to show you everything. Like, I want to show you everything. Distance. Here, I know what I'm going to do. Oh, I'm going to move again because I've got to plug my phone in. Hold it. If for some reason I cut out, I'm going to be right back. Oh, no, I haven't plugged my phone in. I have to plug my computer in. Okay. So. Okay, so while I am just grabbing the steps taken by Chris Watts while he was at Survey 319 from the Discovery, please enjoy. And hi, Allegedly, how are you? Love that you've been coming around lately. Hi, Ozzy Jen, how are you? Please enjoy Nicole Kessinger talking about, avoiding questions about the 111-minute phone conversation.
I would like to sit down.
So yes, you did hear right there. Well, you probably want to hear her say too, don't fucking let me down. We can do this as a team, right? Let's hear that too. Maybe getting a little too close from her as law enforcement wanted or expected. So in case you forgot what it sounded like when Kobach and NK were talking when he was interviewing her, let's take a listen to a sound clip from one of their phone interviews.
For remembering that. Yeah, I'm trying. I'm really trying to help you guys. I need you guys to help me too. Like, we'll do this as a team, but just don't.
So the reason why we can't, like, I did think about this yesterday, that I would like to sit down.
So yes, you did hear right there. She said, I'm trying to help you, but we're just doing this as a team here. So don't fucking let me down. Let her down? What exactly did law enforcement owe Nicole Kessinger? Good question, eh? Let's hear Nicole Kessinger's own words what she and CW did on July 14th. Oh, this clip is from the second interview where she came in to speak with, well, actually, it would be the third interview in total, where she came into the police station to speak with Kevin Kobach. And yes, her father was present. Hi,
The
Dwayne.
second time I went to that house, I'm not sure what day it was, but it was the weekend of the 14th.
Of August? July?
I don't know if it was the 14th or the 15th. One of those 2 days. But we had went out and we stopped there just real quick on the way back. And we were there not very long. But that time I saw a picture of his wife and one of his kids. And I remember thinking to myself, like, wow, she's so beautiful. And I took a step back and I was just like, this man has a gorgeous house. He has beautiful babies. He has a beautiful wife. He has an awesome job. Like, why would he want to leave this? And I remember talking to him about it. And that was the first time that I tried to actually say, what do you think about not separating from your wife? Like, what if you really try to work on this? And he had expressed to me that we've tried to work on this and it's not working. So that is why we're separating. And I spent some time, like, just, you know, kind of, because it almost made me feel bad, where I was like to the point where I'm engaging in a relationship with a man who, the way he described it, is in a contractual agreement, but was not in like an emotional relationship with somebody. And for me, the way I would have preferred to do this is to have waited till that contractual agreement was also done, and he was done, and he could have approached me and said, I'm just had a divorce, you know, maybe we could take this slow. What do you think? But instead it was, oh, we're separated and we're working on a divorce. And that is the part that I feel bad about, because I should have waited on that. And I
Yes,
didn't.
you should have.
And, you know, I was just like, well, they're already there. So, you know, but then being in a house.
Well, they're already
it's just like,
there.
why? Fix this. Find a way to fix this. Make it work.
Oh, bullshit. Okay, so I'm done with her. But okay, so I can't find it. I don't want to keep taking time looking for it, but you're just going to have to believe me. I'll put in the community post when I do find it. At the time when Chris Watts was clocking distance and a lot of individual steps taken while he was at survey 319, there were no steps, or I'm sorry, there were no flights climbed. So why is it? And really the simple answer is, since I can't put the data side by side and show you a like, you know, like kind of moment of time by moment of time comparison, is just because his phone doesn't clock steps, I'm sorry, flights climbed, doesn't mean that he didn't go upstairs. He very well could have kept his phone in the car. You don't always have your phone on when you're, you know, doing whatever you're doing, right? So now the reason that I think that that is definitely, or more likely the case, that Chris Watts, because I do think that Chris Watts did go up those steps with his daughters or one of his daughters, or to some degree. I do believe that. You know, I personally just believe that. I don't think that there's enough evidence to show otherwise, you know, and I could be wrong. If someday, somehow, some information comes out that says otherwise, you know, all right, man, like I go with that information for surezies, you know, but it's just such a sad thing. Let's see. Hold on, let me turn this volume off here so you can see where we're talking about. Let's get really close there. Okay, hold it. Bringing this into the stream. You guys listen carefully. You can hear my son singing in the background. Okay. So again, just because his phones show that he took steps and he clocked distance when he was at survey, and a decent amount, he was doing something, he was scurrying around doing something, but you don't see flights climbed, does not mean he didn't go up those stairs. He could have left the phone in the car. And a reason that I think it's very probable that if he did walk up those stairs and go up to those thief hatches on the tanks, that he would have left his phone in the car, is because he knows that having your cell phone around the fumes of these oil tanks. And let me just pause to say, how disgusting is it that as we're looking at this footage, Shanann is buried in a disrespectfully disrespectful is like an understatement compared to the other feelings he obviously had towards her, but in a shallow grave barely under the surface of the earth here. And his daughters are in those oil tanks, when Chris Watts all the while knows that the fumes from those tanks are so toxic and noxious and combustible that they talk about in Discovery having to take a number of special measures in order to recover the girls' bodies from these tanks. And one of the problems that they had was that they could not see into the tank through the thief hatch. One of the reasons they couldn't see into the tank through the thief hatch is due to the darkness. Crude oil is dark as hell. I mean, and there's no light in there, obviously. Well, you say just shine some light in there. Then you'd be able to see if they were in there. Like, why couldn't they do that? Well, it says, according to the discovery, that to shine a light into those tanks through the thief hatches, or to even have your cell phone around when those thief or like on you or around a thief hatch when it's open due to the fumes, is extremely dangerous. It could cause an explosion because the fumes are so combustible. Those fumes are so combustible, just the light from a flashlight could cause an explosion. So you get that? So knowing that, and I am personally not a proponent of the explosion theory. I do not think by any means Chris Watts was trying to explode himself. That's for damn sure. He was much too interested in continuing his life with his mistress to off himself at this point, and being somebody who goes out to the oil tanks every day. He well knows that you cannot have your cell phone around those thief hatches when they open, or anywhere else where you're going to get a rush of those noxious combustible fumes, because you just might explode. So if he did climb those stairs, and he knew he was going to open those thief hatches, you better believe he didn't have his cell phone with him. So it makes perfect sense. Let's say somebody tells us, this is the powers that be, and I'm telling you right now, Watts the Obsession, Chris Watts did climb those stairs, and we can assume that's fact. I could say then it makes perfect sense that we knew that he climbed those stairs, but his phones did not show any flights climbed, because of course he wouldn't have his phone with him, because he could have exploded if he did, and he was looking forward to his future with his mistress, right? So that is the answer to that. So just, so that's a perfect example of how you can find out so much information when you put together the information that you can glean from the data that does exist out there, that was found in Chris's phone, Shanann's phone, NK's phone. It just wasn't, properly analyzed, just like the evidence that investigators collected from the work truck, and they collected all of the right stuff. The trace lifts from the back seat, from the console, from the driver's side front seat, from the steering wheel, from the other side of the back seat. They collected all that evidence, but way 2 months, straight up 2 months, a little more before Chris Watts' plea deal. Well, his plea deal was accepted at some point, but before the sentencing happened and it was official, it's in the discovery. There's a note from CBI to Dave Baumhover saying that we are refusing these items for analysis. Thank you for the evidence. Well, they didn't say that, but it's like, thank you for all this evidence you collected that would have told us, who was in the car when he drove out there, if the people that were in his truck were dead or alive, if there were other parties in the car, if Nicole Kessinger had ever been in the car, if he was actually the one driving. I mean, we could have eliminated so much conspiracy theory, but they just said, nah. And it could have, given a lot of information to either validate or not validate Chris Watts' false and incomplete confession, upon which his plea deal was made and then accepted by DA Rourke. Shame on you. But they just didn't bother to do it. And you do have to ask why that is. I'm losing my voice a little bit. Amanda says, whoops, let me just bring that down. And welcome, Amanda. The fact that the sheets are just laying there out in the fields goes to show the level of stupidity with this man also, thinking he was going to get away with it. The delusion is real. Yeah, absolutely. Stupidity. And, I think, after having done what he did, he probably was in a state of, shock. Even if he let's say he did commit all of the endings and he did intend to do it, even if he didn't plan to do it, planning to do that and going over it in your mind and actually doing it are two different things, right? I know. My son's playing Kanye West in the background. I feel like my live stream's going to get a copyright strike. So, okay. So why wouldn't SW see the ring on her phone as well? I'm not sure. Yeah, this is a few minutes ago. I'm not sure what you're talking about though. That just caught my eye though. Oh, Crystal, you're so kind. Thank you again for the super chat. Crystal says, Lies, you saw that as game on for you, SW. You and SW, you saw that. And again, I don't know what I was saying at that time, but anyway, thank you. Oh, that was like a really long time ago. Thank you so much, Crystal. And I hope I answered your question. I mean, I know you asked it a really long time ago. I don't even know if you're still here, but oh my gosh. Crime and Crochet and my hyper focus said, my now hubby, I hope you don't mind, I'm reading this, was separated from his wife, but I traveled 200 miles to check his story out unannounced. Read too many stories to trust what he said blindly. Well, I don't blame you. Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, and Bebop, no way he would have killed himself. No way. Thank you, Jesse. Let's see. Exit Screaming says, just looking at the home videos, Chris seemed like a beaten down man, probably a decent guy who got involved with an alpha female and was miserable having to pretend he enjoyed his life. Well, I certainly think there's an extremely true element to what you're saying here. Yeah, and everyone knows that I'm not saying, nobody's saying that Shanann deserved. I hate when people say that. Oh my God, you guys are saying that Shanann deserved. No, nobody freaking says that. Nobody thinks that. It's terrible, you know? And Anaphylaxis says that was my impression of him too. I mean, it's just true. I mean, the proof is there in the videos that we can see. It is. So. Can I mod? Yes, I will mod. Yeah. And thank you so much, moderators. I will mod you right now, Kezchik. I'm sorry. I'm not like, I know, but moderators have such a hard time with this case. People are so, please, everybody be respectful. And thank you so much, moderators. I really appreciate you guys. I know moderators for the Chris Watts case. Whoops. Yikes. Please pause. Pause. Sorry. Yeah, it's just hard. I know. Let me just, yeah, I'll make her a moderator. Oh, wait, I found you. Thank you very much, by the way, Kezchik. Okay. All right. So, gosh, oh my gosh. I always plan so much more than plate is full. Do you guys want to go into the Nicole Kessinger phone data and the, the ping analysis and well, it's my and what I was going to do was I have a few more things to say about it, but I'm going to be playing part of a video that you may have already seen that I've uploaded where I analyze her phone record, which was in the discovery for a very, very short time. And then, I do not know exactly how long it was in the discovery for people that got copies of the discovery. And then all of a sudden, the relevant phone record was not there anymore. And it was replaced with, get this, fan letters from women to Chris Watts in prison. Like, did you think we weren't going to notice that? That was like the juiciest piece of information in that freaking discovery. So I'm looking at the phone records from July 13th to August 13th. And what it can tell us, and it's a lot. Yes or no? Yes or no? Okay, Edward says sure. They removed a lot from discovery. They absolutely did. Crystal says to be Bob's, it was like everyone was scared of her getting mad or throwing or scared of her throwing her hands. I think you're talking about Shanann, right? Yeah, I think so too. When people say, why didn't people report, if they think they didn't like some way she behaved, to Bella or something, they're probably scared. They didn't want to get kicked out of Bella's life. People loved her too. They didn't want to get kicked out of her life. But I mean, I know those kind of people. Like if you're to criticize them in any way or how they do things in any way, they just will simply dismiss you and you will be cut off. And, your love for them or anyone, in their family or particularly who they have custody of, young children that, really would only be able to see you if the parents allowed, then all of a sudden it's like those people are gone from your life and it's very painful. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll bring that to the stream then. And I'm just going to let it play rather than keep interjecting like I am right now. Okay. Just a minute. I got to bring it back up. So yeah, great comments in chat. I've read some of the comments. I'll try to bring some more up in a little bit too. But I'm losing my voice. So I'm not sure how many I can read. I think this time of year, does anyone else have this? Like when, yeah, this happens a lot this time of year when like here, the weather is starting to get warm, like spring has not sprung, but you can tell it's on the way. And when the weather changes in that way, almost every year, I just have this feeling in my chest and I lose my voice sometimes for longer than some years longer than in other years. Okay.
From July 13th to August 13th, which really, those are the relevant phone records that anyone would want to see when parsing through this case. After August 13th, really the only interesting things that happened on Nicole Kessinger's cell phone were her searches asking if police could find deleted text messages and some other shady things. Because remember, or if you don't know this, let me tell you, that Nicole Kessinger deleted all of her text messages and any interaction record that existed on her phone between herself and Chris Watts. Apparently, she did this on Tuesday, August 14th, and she says that's because she just learned on that day that Chris Watts' beautiful wife, Shanann Watts, was 15 weeks pregnant. Now, that comes into major question, but that's a whole different topic, a whole different ballgame, and I've covered that in other videos and just might have to cover it again. So as we do look at the phone records from July 13th to August 13th, we see that Nicole Kessinger's phone pinged in Frederick, Colorado, a total of, 3 times in that time period. We also have a record that her phone pinged in Frederick, Colorado on July 4th, which I'm just going to set that to the side for now because it's not within that July 13th to August 13th timeframe I'm talking about. But she and Chris Watts both acknowledged that she was in Frederick, Colorado on July 4th. So when we're looking at the 3 Frederick, Colorado pings in that July 13th to August 13th timeframe, one was on July 14th. And this is also a day that Chris Watts and Nicole Kessinger both agree that she was in Frederick, Colorado. Now, in my opinion, July 14th was an absolutely pivotal day in this case, and I believe this is the day when Chris Watts started putting the plan into motion. This was the day when, after one of their outings, I believe they went to the Mustang Museum, they went back to Chris Watts' house, and on this day, Nicole Kessinger claimed that the dog Dieter strong-armed her into going upstairs where she saw a picture of Shanann and one of the girls. And she claims on that day, she started questioning Chris as to why he's not staying with his wife. She even went so far as to assert that she encouraged him, starting on this day, to stay with his wife. Now, one of my favorite comments that people leave on my channel is, said no side piece ever. I really do agree with that. The other time, or the second time of the third, when we're talking about the pings on Nicole Kessinger's cell phone in Frederick, Colorado, from July 13th 13th to August 13th is on July 18th. Now, this ping was actually initiated from Chris Watt's phone. He was also in Frederick, Colorado on that day, and he was calling Nicole Kessinger. I think she was kind of like, you know, hanging around there. There was some story told about getting touch-up paint for her car that was perhaps picked up on that day. So of all of the pings from Nicole Kessinger's cell phone from July 14th to August 13th, the third time that she pinged in Frederick, Colorado was on the morning of August 13th at 6:16 a.m. This is a critical time because this would be right around the time, a little bit after the time that Chris Watts left his driveway after we saw, based on the security camera footage from neighbor Nate's security camera, that he had been packing his car for about half an hour, and then he took off heading to Survey 319, where later that week, the bodies of his beautiful wife, Shanann, 15 weeks pregnant, his daughter, Bella, and his daughter, Cece, were found. Now, these things happened. They were real. This issue has been put to rest, and I'm showing you the evidence right here on this video. So guys, please.
All right, I don't have to school you there. You guys know what you're looking at, okay? 16 on August 13th means that she was right near 2825 Saratoga Trail, the residence of the Watts family. And as I shared with you, after I put this video out, subsequent, or recorded this part of it through the analysis of my friend whose company I used to work at, or firm I used to work at, as a site acquisition specialist, who he's like a super specialist and like a freaking whiz and all this stuff, was able to analyze that she, based on the cell phone bandwidth and the cell phones that were active at the time. I show you some of that information here, but he was able to determine that where she pinged was in 300 to 400 yards of the Watts home. So again, when she pinged, she was within 300 to 400 yards of the Watts house. That's significant. Okay, so here we have Saratoga Trail. Then we have where the Frederick Tower was. These two locations are very close. Now, guys, I want you to know that I was able to get the record and maps of the towers at the time of this tragedy, and that's because of the friend that I was just referencing. August 13th, 2018, and the towers that I have depicted on my visuals are towers that service Verizon, which was the carrier Kessinger was using. Okay, so down here where the little red marker is, that's Kessinger's residence. So her route to work up in Platteville is as shown. Over to the right, up to Platteville, takes a total of 33 minutes. You'll see right about in the middle of that map, you'll see Frederick, okay? Now what we're doing, guys, is we're zooming in to this full route, 33-minute route map, okay? All right, so here it is. So you see next to this highway here, I have all these pictures of super cool Kessinger at the sand dunes. So that's just indicating that's her route going, you know, from the bottom of the screen upwards. Now you see over to the right, there's 1, 2, 3 towers with the pink arrows pointed towards them. Each of these 3 towers service Verizon, and they have bandwidths that are strong enough for sure to be favorable to pick up a signal of somebody traveling on this highway. The bandwidth probably is such for the highway traffic. Now you see the red arrow, the large red arrow here, points to the tower that she pinged off of, okay? So just imagine Kessinger traveling along this highway that's highlighted in green right next to her picture. Just look at the distance of a car traveling on that highway, the distance from that car to the Frederick Tower, or that car to any one of the towers to the right. The distance to the towers on the right is a lot less with a strong enough bandwidth. than the distance of somebody traveling on that highway to the Frederick Tower. So what this tells me really beyond. Okay, so I already told you the punchline. So I'm going to move forward to the next thing. Okay. So, as I looked through all of Kessinger's phone bills, her phone bill from the dates of July 14th through August 13th, what I did was I looked at the longest call on each of these, pages of her phone bill. So I just want to note that the 111-minute phone call was really out of character for their conversations. This wasn't their normal pattern of talking to each other. So I went through and I looked at the longest phone call that NK held on each of these pages and the longest phone call that she had with Watts on each of these pages. And we find that. Wait, before I tell you what we find, okay, I just want to read this one comment, because I really think that this is at the bottom. No matter what the theory is about what happened, to me, a lot of the theories, include what M. Johnson, and welcome, how are you doing, said here is kind of, something that's assumed about the theory. So M. Johnson says, Shanann Watts would have been around after getting back that night. Because for the 6 weeks they say where they were together, Shanann Watts was only home for 1-2 nights, okay? And the girls 4. Anyway, Chris Watts and NK had gotten used to seeing each other. Neither Chris or Nicole Kessinger was having that. They were both obsessed with each other. Anybody in the way had to go. I think that that's true. I think that what started to happen, oh gosh, and there's so many reasons I could point to, but this would be getting way off topic, is I think that Nicole Kessinger felt, like full force, exactly the way you're saying right there. I think Chris Watts started to have doubt. And I think that discrepancy in their level of unhealthy compulsive obsession towards one another was essentially the catalyst that kicked off the series of events that ended with the lives of Shanann, Bella, Cece, and baby Nico ending. But yeah, I think that was a good comment. So this part, I'm talking about why one of the many reasons why the 111-minute phone conversation is so critical. So you're looking at the length of that phone conversation as compared to all of the other phone conversations between Nicole Kessinger and Chris Watts. There's a number of reasons it stands out. 111-minute phone call, guys. The next 3 longest calls lasted 51 minutes, 52 minutes, and 54 minutes, respectively. So you see, that's a really long phone call. We could probably say, because there's only a short period of time that we don't have their phone records, according to when they say their relationship was occurring, it's probably safe to say that was the longest phone call that they ever had. So even when you look at, this is all ping information, this little, unofficial timeline here, we see that their 111-minute phone call, pointed to by this big red arrow, starts at 9:28 that Sunday evening, August 12th, and it ends at 11:19. There's no activity on NK's phone until the 6:16 a.m. ping the morning of August 13th, we see right here, when she had a 1-minute phone call to her friend Jim, is highlighted in yellow. The next activity, guys, on her phone was not until 2:28 p.m. And that call was initiated in Platteville. That's where she works. And again, this is a very unusual pattern for NK. So did you catch that? So what's really critical here is when you're looking at her phone record, the 111-minute phone call and the 6:16 a.m. ping are next to one another. They are consecutive, items on her phone bill. So, we call into question largely, and more so, well, I don't know if more so, law enforcement did as well. And we certainly call into question that ping, at 6:16, right by the Watts residence, knowing that, what was going on at that time. And, according to her phone log, there ain't nothing going on in between those hours. Yes, it is overnight, but, there are plenty of times where there would be some activity during that time. But what was going on during that time, of course, is the question, right? So to not have any activity on her phone throughout the whole day. So now I also told you guys that the 111-minute phone call was conspicuously missing from the official discovery timeline. So just let me show you what I mean here. So here you see this is the official redacted discovery. So you see right here in the middle of the page begins August 13th. Well, if you just go up a little bit, you're going into August 12th. Now, I want you to see how they included like everything that happened on August 12th. Everything that Chris Watts did on August 12th is in this discovery. Look, this is a lot of information as compared to the other dates in the official timeline in the discovery. It's like 5 or 6 pages long, okay? So look, August 12th starts right here. I just wanted to say to Bonnie Rigg, Bonnie, leave Jim alone. We have everything that Watts did starting at 7:32 a.m. that morning. Oh, I'm sorry. So now if we go back down or up or down, I'm sitting like way aside of my computer. It's Bunny. I love bunnies. How could I read Bunny wrong? No, it is Bonnie. Dude, never mind. Remove the last 30 seconds of this live stream and continue. I'm scrolling down, but we're going up in time, right? Forward in time, dumbass. We get to the evening. So at 21:13, so that would be at 9:13. We see that Shanann sent a message to Addie explaining things. At 21:29, which is 9:29, we have Shanann. Guys, again, I really would like you to leave Jim alone, but Crystal, his last name is Gutowski, made an unanswered call to Watts. Well, the reason that likely is, my friends, is because a minute before that, at 9:28, or in military time, 21:28, that's when that 111-minute phone call began. There is no mention of that phone call here in the official discovery. I just find that to be a conspicuously missing piece of information. So I don't know if anyone has any comments or questions about that. I'd be interested to know what you think about that. I mean, every piece of information that man did that day, other than this phone call, is here on Discovery. So let's hear what Chris Watts and his former mistress, Nicole Kessinger, have to say about that 111-minute phone conversation that was much longer than any other phone conversation. But what I was just saying there, that every other thing he did that day was in that timeline in the Discovery. The only thing that wasn't there that date was, it was actually 6.5 pages, almost 7 pages long, which was way longer than any other day in the whole Discovery. And it's the only thing that's not in the Discovery on that day. Well, you know what? I said that, but now I'm thinking of a lot of other things. I think it's the most important thing. And it's the thing that should be the most likely to be in there, since the Discovery, narrates or at least mentions or bullet points the important phone calls, or phone calls and text communications, depending on the contents of them. But what even highlights the fact that it's that phone call that's not in the Discovery timeline is that even though everything else Chris Watts did that day, of the things Chris Watts that day, it was obviously the one thing that Chris Watts did that day, which is, I'm talking about Sunday, August 12th, the day before the murders, that law enforcement was most interested in. And I'm saying that based on how many times they asked Kessinger about it. Conversation they had ever had. Notice how they use a lot of the same language. Finish your sentence.
What were you talking to Nikki about before your wife got home?
Before she got home?
You talked for like several hours.
I think we talked a lot. conversations, random conversations. We talk a lot.
Does Nikki know about any of this? Seriously.
No, she doesn't know, like, I mean, she knows, like, from the news.
Let's get to the phone call on Saturday from 9 to 11. What did you guys, or pardon me, on Sunday from 9 to 11?
Yeah, we talked a few times. So, Sunday, I think so. I need to think. I can't even think.
Take a couple breaths and take a second.
Sunday night. I don't even know. I don't think I was like concerned about anything at that point.
You guys had a nice meal the night before. You knew his wife was probably coming home late that evening.
Oh, you know what? I still don't remember what we talked about. I honestly, we talk about so much random stuff. Like, it's so hard to pinpoint some of these things. I don't remember what we talked about. I do remember that was a long phone conversation that we probably talked about all sorts of stuff. One thing I do remember though, that I didn't remember earlier when I was talking to Mark. So this is like where I'm starting to remember like little bits and pieces. I don't remember. Yeah, I know. So the phone conversation, I don't remember what was in the phone conversation. Probably nothing of relevance, to be honest with you. But usually he talks to me when he's like down in the basement in his bed before he goes to bed and before I go to bed. And I could hear the TV on, which I thought was kind of weird. I didn't ask him. I just heard it in the background. And I remember thinking, and it was like right before we got off the phone, I was like, why the hell is he up? And there's like no TV downstairs. So I was like, well, maybe, I don't know.
So no TV in the basement where he usually calls you from.
Yeah, and I don't know how many TVs they have.
So as you heard, guys, both Chris Watts and Nicole Kessinger, wrote off that question, what was said in that 2-hour conversation by saying, I don't know, it's just a bunch of random stuff. We just talk a lot. Can't even remember. And Nicole Kessinger somehow diverted Kevin Kobach into, talking about the television situation in the Watts residence. It was totally ridiculous. So what's up with that? So you see, guys, here's the picture. The reason Nicole Kessinger is so suspicious is due to her deleting messages, breaking her SIM card, lying about why she did that, lying about knowing that Chris Watts' wife, Shanann, was 15 weeks pregnant, and a whole host of other things. The 6:16 a.m. ping, the 111-minute phone call the night before, well, actually, the time during which Shanann Watts was supposed to be returning home to her husband, the phone call that was longer than any call they had had before, at 11:25 on neighbor Nate's security camera footage. You see headlights driving by the Watts house. That's right after their phone call. I didn't even include that in this video. We can talk about that another time. And then after that 111-minute phone call, no activity on her phone until the 6:16 a.m. ping that I showed you was right near the Watts residence. And then after that 6:16 a.m. ping, no activity on her phone until 2:38 p.m., which is totally unusual for Miss Kessinger. And she has no alibi for that morning. There's no record of her punching into work, only punching out. So guys, seriously, what's up? That's the whole deal. I hope you understand things a little bit better now. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask them. I'll be monitoring comments on this video, or you can always email me at wattsobsession@gmail.com. Thanks so much for watching. Please click like and subscribe, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care, y'all. All right, guys. So it is my hope that that explanation allowed you to understand a little more about Nicole Kessinger's 6:16 a.m. ping in Frederick, Colorado, Monday morning, August 13th, 2018, and why it's so important. And also about the entire Nicole Kessinger timeline from Sunday evening, going over the night, into Monday, August 13, and throughout that day. Now, remember, guys, Nicole Kessinger has no alibi on Monday. There's a record of her punching out of work, but there is no record of her punching into work. We have never seen that. It's not in discovery. It is not in any of the interviews that have been released between law enforcement with Nicole Kessinger, as far as we know, it does not exist. Okay. So let's take a step back in time. So we're going to work our way. Okay. So then we're getting off topic for today's stream. So yeah, I mean, pretty circumstantial, yes. And I'm talking about Kessinger's phone information, the stuff that we just talked about. But, you know, I mean, God, it's just, it paints such a clear picture. I guess that's all I can say. It paints such a clear picture. And talk about a clear picture when you put that phone information together with all of the other things that we know about her. We know about this case. We know about her lies. We know about how law enforcement treated her with kid gloves. We know about, how, people like DA Rourke will absolutely not entertain any questions or any questioning about this or about Nicole Kessinger in this case. And the number of people that made up every excuse in the book for it's seemingly endless, the myriad of incriminating circumstantial evidence pieces that make many of us think Skanky Empanada to be guilty of something. I'm certainly one of them. Hi, Justice A through Z. Love saves lives. Our friend Justice A through Z didn't get rid of the part of her name that says Justice A through Z, but she expanded it to Justice A through Z. Love saves lives. Beautiful. Just wanted to point that out so nobody's confused. Let's see. Let me just go through. Oh, hi, Ara. How are you doing? Okay, I'll check it out, Ara. Thank you. How are you doing, sweetheart? She had to call her psychic before leaving work. That's right. The person that was weird. I don't know. I honestly don't know enough about it to speak. I looked into it a long time ago and I know a little bit about it, but I think I'd get some things wrong. Anna Franco says, Dieter used to be brought to Enke's apartment to play with her dog during the whole month of July. I wonder if he was, or if he was just left in the basement. How can you be so chatty when 3 people and baby Nico's lives were taken? I know. It's just freaking nuts. Weirdly shaped legs. Oh. Oh, yes. Everybody, please hit the like. I'd really appreciate it. Just looking through some through chat. You wish they knew what she asked Charlotte and how she answered. Do you know? Well, I've gone over recently. I did a couple of videos about the interviews they did with Charlotte. I mean, there's a decent amount of stuff that we do know. Ara says, why did they leave the record of her clocking in out? I know. It's almost as though they wanted people to be left questioning her. More flags in the embassy. Yeah, that's right. Charlotte returned the detective's voicemail after meeting up with Kessinger that same day. And you know what they did? They went to Verizon and Kessinger got a new phone. Pretty crazy, huh? An NK factory reset her phone as well. Is that true? Jesus. That's crazy. Wow. It's just, I mean, it's just amazing that she Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Lyrica Blue. That's a pretty name. Do you think that was her car that passed that you could see on the police body cam when they were out back on the patio? I don't know. It looked like it could possibly be, but I mean, I don't know if she would have been directly driving. I think she would have been too scared to, but maybe. Who knows? I wish Charlotte was going to write a book. You're being serious? She wouldn't write a book. Nobody talks about this girl. I don't think it was psychic, but something. Yeah, the first person that, as far as I understand, the person that she called on the 13th from work was somebody just said, I lost a comment though, said it was her spiritual advisor. Oh, wait, her spiritual guru. Let's see here. It's like chat keeps like jumping. Walkway Renee says, guys, it was her spiritual guru, not psychic. Come on now. In case legitimate side piece, not a gullible one, okay? That is so funny. I love you. That's awesome. Great comment. I'm glad I found it. Oh, I absolutely believe NK was in every room of that house. I don't know if her stabbing someone in the back is true. I think that's a rumor, guys. She was arrested, that's true, but it was for like, underage drunken disorderly conduct or something. Oh, thank you so much. That's really nice of you, Veronica Williams. She said, this case has me so obsessed. Where I'm from, no one knows about it. Do they know what they're missing out on? Apparently not. I'm Mexican and in Mexico, so most people have no idea. Love your channel. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Glad you're here, sweetheart. Those Lucky Charms. Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you, Kind Colorado. Says this is my favorite watch study channel since 80 got kicked off of YouTube. I hate that happened. I just hate that happened. I think that's so wrong. Yeah, so wrong. And yeah. How is Alan doing? Who knows? How's Alan doing? I need to send him an email. Gina. Work's wife is on YouTube. Is that a question or a statement? She has that podcast. Yep. Yuck. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, so Anna says behind Criminal Minds does great research. He shared the stabbing case. Well, that does make me look at it in a different light because I do believe that yes, he does great research. Wow. Does anyone know which of his videos that's in? Oh, I know. Yeah, District Attorney Rourke during the Wife's podcast said that, before deciding, I think he was talking about death penalty or not, he consulted, a couple of people. One was the financial person who was, funding what he does in his job, interestingly enough. The other people were saying Dean Frank Rusick, but I don't know if he's really sure about that because he's getting the story mixed up every time he tells it. I mean, in insignificant ways. And his wife, like, I think, I don't know. I don't know. You know what? Before the wife's podcast came out, I was not a fan of his. I didn't think he was exceptional at his job. I think there's a lot of things he did that were not the right decision in this case, like accepting the plea deal with Chris just giving an inaccurate and false confession that they did not validate, if his confession had any truth to it. Well, I shouldn't say any truth to it, but if it was explained what happened and eliminated the possibility of someone else being involved altogether or in addition to Chris Watts, I mean, that is a huge, huge problem. So I thought he kind of sucked in that way. I kind of thought that he sucked in this way too. Let me tell you about it. Saying that this is not a witch hunt, but in the same breath, well, in the same statement, actually, it's also, well, no, it was in a different one, but also at the same time is what I'm trying to get at here, saying that, Nicole Kessinger, did delete all our text messages. It hampered the investigation. For the most part, he believes she was honest with law enforcement. Whoa, 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 whoa. All of that is a huge problem, motherfucker. Like, what? You're just like saying that is your justification for not looking into her? And oh, by the way, and you didn't even look into the evidence that you collected for this case with the charge of 3 homicides, and you managed to get another charge in order for accounting for the life of baby Nico, but you didn't validate if the defendant's confession actually explains the crime. Like, what the actual fuck? And then, I don't know. It's just, but after he was on his wife's podcast, I have lost respect for him. That is why there has been an influx in me talking unfavorably about District Attorney Michael J. Rourke. He really disgusted me with basically everything he said pertaining to this case during that podcast. I could totally do that, Kind Colorado. Like, here, let me find I have a couple really recent videos all about that. I know I did one live stream about a month and a half ago at the most. And then usually when I do live streams, very often I also do uploaded videos to accompany them for material to look at. And because I know not everybody is into like such long content, all you people on Reddit who are really nasty to me, that's like they're often that's what everyone complains about. Our live streams just go on and on and on. Well, you have to watch them. Yeah. But I think really through that live stream and the video that I uploaded, I think it was very comprehensive in going over the interviews with Charlotte Nelson. Let me try to find here. Oh, here it is. Okay. So yeah, it was just a month ago. I'll put the link. It's text about kids on the thumbnail, and that says Chris Watts' mistress exposed, revealing text with Charlotte Nelson. Narcissist at work. Watch. So yep. Here's a link. And then the live stream would be right around the time this video was uploaded. Link to Charlotte Nelson video. Da-da-da-da. There you go, my dear. He's doing okay. Oh, thank you, Kezchik. I know. I miss AD. I miss him a lot. What platform is he on now, Kez? I feel ya. I wish he'd get kicked off also. That's great. Ozzy John says, using his position of power to beat up YouTube creators is corruption. Again. Yep. Yeah, Behind Criminal Minds is a great channel. Yeah, I mean, and also being an attorney, I think he should have, well, I can tell you this, and I'm not an attorney, he should have advised his wife to not lay those strikes down on Behind Criminal Minds and plunder, because if you erroneously strike videos enough times, and from what I understand, you don't have to do it too often, you get penalized and your channel can go down. You can't just go around throwing out strikes like they're freaking candy coming off a Halloween parade float, and like, yeah. There and both those videos got reinstated. YouTube sided with them. I mean, that's what happens. You get a strike, you can either suck it up and accept it, and your video is just taken down and life goes on. And if you get 3 strikes, then your channel is taken down and it's investigated. It's just then it gets messy. And you can challenge the strike. And then at that point, the person who gave you the strike needs to prove that the content of theirs that you used is protected by a copyright or trademark. And if it's not, then you're shit out of luck. I mean, you'd think District Attorney Rourke would know that, since he and his wife consult with one another about all the decisions they make, but maybe he doesn't, because I just have the bad words in my mind, but I can't say them out loud on this channel. He's a, what did I say earlier? He's a wuss. Yeah, I just have this like super distaste for him now. Podcast was super cringy. I mean, it's a good point about, the vicarious trauma and all that. I mean, that's an important topic in general, not just in his profession, but in a number of ways. But yeah, I feel yeah. Yeah, AD is no longer on YouTube. You're welcome. Yeah, where is AD again? Oh, where is he? He's on Rumble. This thing called, I don't even know what Rumble is, but he's on Rumble. How's his channel doing over there, Kaz? Yeah, I really miss AD. I just feel like it's a lot. I mean, it's a loss to not have him. Yeah, he got kicked off. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you said that. I saw you say something nice about her earlier too. I came in late to your live. Nicole Atkinson is a hero and should be a mercher. I think she's a hero too. I know. How come she conducted a witch hunt? Exactly. Veronica asked, do you think NK will ever be at least interrogated? I was texting one of my moderators earlier, talking about why I've kind of picked back up with this case. Well, first of all, there are a lot of new channels talking about this case, and everyone does their best. And I was a new channel 3 years ago, and I know there are people that were doing this whole thing before me, and it's all good, and everybody has to have their entry point, right? But with this flux of new channels covering this case, or existing channels now also covering this case, there was this resurgence of misinformation. And I guess because my channel name is What's the Obsession, I think whenever these trends start on YouTube, I really feel the impact of it. I feel like I'm just tuned into it. So I don't know. I just feel like I myself trust that this channel will always stand as a pillar of factuality and actual truth in the YouTube true crime community about this case. So I am, I just want to make sure that position is filled. Should be by a number of people, one being us guys. And also because there is this resurgence of interest in and understanding that complete justice was not served, in my opinion. And it seems like there are a lot more people outside of kind of like Watts Island, being exposed to this case and developing that opinion and having that understanding and, starting to have a voice about it. Also, then knowing that this is District Attorney Rourke's last possible term as Weld County clown. And then somebody different will be there. I do believe that there is a possibility that the case could be reopened. I really, truly do believe that because I know that the amount of evidence, including her own admissions, is so ever present, overwhelming, and abundant. Like I almost can't breathe because it's all over and on top of me and suffocating me. And that is true. It makes sense to, I don't know. I think there's a possibility. Will it happen? Who knows? Do I think there's a probability? I certainly wouldn't say that, but I do think it's possible. Hi, Chick Tracy. How are you doing? Nice to see you. I literally just explained it. Why are we back in this case? I literally just got done explaining it. Like, just took a breath when you asked that. Ara says, I know how you feel, Kelly. This is how I feel about Kylie Rodney in my channel. Yes. Yeah, and I feel that way about Kylie Rodney too. I just, that you can't do it all. AD was there from the start. Yes, he was. He sure was. I like Alan. I just like him. I like him as a person. I know. Well, that's what I was saying in the beginning of this when I said, no, please don't, let's not be trashing her. I can't even for a second believe that anybody would think that Nicole Atkinson, I think you mean like did anything wrong here. I just can't believe that anyone would actually say that. Oh my gosh, I just can't. I feel the exact same way. I too think she's a hero. And there's just nothing indicating that she did anything wrong. Literally nothing. Oh, we're going to leave Jim alone is definitely going to be one of the merch things. And I'm going to, let's see, my spring break is April 1st. So I'll get that all done and ordered the first week in April, and then it'll be available. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Honey Bunny. Hi, Honey Bun. How are you doing? Yes, Armchair Detective. I know. Justice A through Z. According to Mr. and Mrs. Rourke, we need to all go to school to become district attorneys. Yeah, whatever. They can suck it. Yay! Ara's back as a member. Woohoo! Thank you, darling. Love ya. Welcome to Watts Island. Welcome. Yeah, never mind. I'm not going to sing right now. No, this case is not in the news big time right now. H of 79905. Yeah, I feel this way. Colorado says this case will never go away because it was never researched properly and people were let off from charges. That's true. Yeah. Jennifer says it's like a lot of channels did great work, but started going off of the facts. I very much agree with that too. That will never happen here. We won't do that. Hi, Howie. How are you? Howie DeWitt says, sorry, I always ask this question until I'm blue in the face. Why did they not release any airport footage? I don't have any answer for that question. They have it, right? I think I wonder the same thing. Does anyone have a plausible answer for that? Aw, thank you, Chick Tracy. That's really nice of you. Well, I'm glad you're here. It was great when I just saw your name come up. I was happy. Oh, Honey Bun. I don't know if you knew this, but I make tons of things like keychains, hats, shot glasses, tumblers. I do bulk orders if you ever want to see some of my work. Oh my God, I would absolutely love to, Honey Bun. You're already channel family. Yes, absolutely. Would you send me an email? WatsObsession@gmail.com? Yes. Yeah, I mean, I would certainly get whatever I can through you. Absolutely. Thank you so much, dear. And I appreciate you. I appreciate all you guys. You're awesome. Airport footage would be helpful, wouldn't it? Yes. Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap up. Yeah, I'm going to get wrapping up, but thank you so much for being here this evening and participating in chat and being respectful to one another. And thank you, especially and always moderators. You guys are so super, super amazing. And, you know, be looking out for stuff to come. I have that one Watts video coming out as soon as I get done with it. I thought it was going to be done this weekend, but I said some family stuff come up and sometimes it takes me longer. I think it's going to. And yep, I'll be scheduling some live streams for this week. And thank you so much. I'm glad you were here. And yeah, that's that. You guys are very welcome. That's funny. All right. So, you know, remember to lock your windows and lock your doors because I don't want anything bad happening to you. You guys all got to come back so we can talk more. And if there's an after party at Ara's are you doing an after party, Ara? Just post it, the link or whatever. If you are, you're more than welcome to. Truth Exposed, you were so quiet tonight. Or maybe I didn't see you, but I'm glad you were here too. And I want you to come back. I want to schedule a panel with you sometime about Idaho. Thank you, Kessinger, for stepping up too. And sorry you just got in here. We're leaving Howie, but we've been on for a while. Oh, good. After party at ours. Here you go. So if you guys want to go over to ours and talk more, go for it. Hi, Wolf Rockin' 74. How are you? All right, guys. And please remember, life is hard. So be good to other people. We don't need to be causing other people problems and bad feelings and more hurt. And, you know, it's so true that, you know, if you're going to say something unkind, you never know what another person is going through. And, you know, I just, you know, always, if I can, refrain because you don't want to be the person to put someone over the edge. Terrible things can happen. And, you know, everybody deserves a good life. So please be good to others. And most of all, be good to yourself, for God's sakes. You've been working too hard lately, because I know you deserve to be good to yourself. So I hope you are. And yeah, I hope to see you all very, very soon. You can keep chatting for another couple minutes with one another, and I hope you have a good night.
It just seemed like he had so much going on, and it was just beautiful that I was like, why don't you just try this out, you know? Into it, and I did not like it, did not want to go back.
Recall where the house was.
Yeah, it's like right off the highway in Frederick.
Okay. You know the streets.
I mean, I'm sure I could figure it out again if I like really had to. Like off the top of my head, no.
Do you know the street name?
No. I would have to like drive around in there to get there.
Okay.